37 of Nerds and Words. I'll be your host today, Tim Allen 1337. Joined today by a man whose favorite hobby includes digging deep with that hoe, Moreland TV.
Greetings.
And the man voted most likely to steal your girlfriend's mom, Kerr. Welcome back.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And then once again, Potion Shop is not available to be with us, so we're joined by his twin brother with his based opinions often stated as fact, Potion Shop TV. Welcome back.
Hey, it's got to be back. Hopefully my brother will be able to make it next podcast.
I'm sure we've got plenty of content as we have a new class to talk about. I'm sure everybody's had some time to dig into it and a bunch of other things that have been happening. So a little before that, we will catch up. It's been a couple weeks since we've all gotten together. Kerr, how you been, man?
I've been doing pretty good. Trying out the new class. I got a pre-order on a pin neck finally, so it's been pretty good days.
Whoa, which neck?
Tungrad.
Wow.
Are you going for the Black Spirit Rage build?
No. So like I was gonna buy the ogre, but the price of ogres and ladens are kind of like in the shitter, and we haven't even gotten the free Tet necklace yet from seasonal. So I just kind of feel like the Tungrad's gonna hold value in the future because it's only like 5 bill more, and I feel like it would hold a little better value once they inevitably do give the Pinka Potion necklace.
I don't know, dude. I think seasons might be canceled.
Yeah, I
keep hearing that.
You think so? It's because of the Naru gear or the Chinchilla gear?
Yeah, the Chinchilla gear, dude. I think that's going to be the new player path. Tuvala is kind of pointless now.
Yeah, I mean, I think honestly that there's a very strong chance that seasons are done, but we can get into that. What's your next upgrade, Kerr?
So I was looking at pin rings maybe, but pin rings are also super inflated, dude. Like pin crescents are like 47, 48 bill. It's kind of crazy.
I mean, I don't think they've always been around like 40, haven't they?
Well, they went down to like 30 at one point. They were always worth more than 30 though. Like that's the weird thing about pin accessories is historically they've been way undervalued. And I think now that there's actually enough silver in the economy for them to be what they're worth, they look inflated. But if you compare it to the Tet, I mean, it's not that high, right?
What do you guys think about Vel being 12.5 bill right now?
Whoa, that's crazy.
Kind of crazy, right? Yeah.
Yeah, that sucks.
I think what we're seeing is the average player start to going for gear. Like when you have, Tri accessories and you have Tet armor, like what's one of the next upgrades you go for? Tet accessories, Vel's heart, pin armor, pin weapons. So I think
that's kind of a good point.
I think the casual player now is just starting to get into like the neighborhood where they're going for Vels and Tet accessories, And
I think the new player population has got to just be doing extraordinarily well because I mean Vel, I remember when Vel first came out, it was like, okay, well now that it's actually dropping, eventually everyone's going to get it and you're going to see a decrease in price. But we never really saw that. Like it kind of just keeps going up and up and up. There's constantly more people, like more new people coming into the game who need it, even though some of us have had it for years. Because it's not like other accessories where you blow them up and you have to start all over. Like Vel, you're just done. But there's still so many people who seem to need it all the time.
Well, I think one of the big things is like they actually doubled the drop rate of it, and it still went up in price. And I think that this says a lot. That they can double the drop rate, and then after it's been double drop rate for maybe a year now, this price is still increased. So, I mean, it's either that or less people are going to Vel. I haven't been to Vel in a long time.
Double with zero is still zero. I've never gotten a drop before.
I got the drop back in like 2018 or something and never looked back.
Smart man.
Didn't even put an alt out there.
Yeah, I wish the money was more consistent. If the money was more consistent, I would show up. But it's just not consistent enough for me to enjoy. Once every 3 years for a Vel's Heart, it's just not worth it. Even if technically it is worth it, like on paper.
I mean, you just leave an ult out there and get in a platoon. I guess getting into platoon might be a thing for you though.
Oh, I mean, you just type
It's like
in
a
chat and you
1%
can-
chance, right? I think it's actually not that bad of a drop chance.
Oh, it's definitely worth it. Yeah, if you look at the time it takes you to get into like a platoon and just change characters and everything. I mean, the profitability of it is insane. But again, like it's 2 years for one drop is just too long.
You can't get in a platoon on offline mode either.
Oh, in privacy mode? Oh, well,
Yeah.
I haven't really tried that since they added that.
What?
That's
You always play in privacy mode.
Yeah,
Shut
yeah,
up.
but I'm saying I haven't been to Vel. I haven't been to Vel since they added that. Like that's how long it's been since I've gone to Vel.
Because you can't join a platoon. I get it.
Yeah, but it's not. It's never been hard for me to get into a platoon. I usually just go into general chat and ask, and you instantly get in one, right?
Potion, how was your couple weeks, man? How you been?
So I've been really, really busy with abusing this 1000% EXP event. I leveled my Musa to 62. I leveled my Ranger to 62. I leveled my DK to 62. I was supposed to have Sage 62, the new class, and I'm going to be taking Sage 63, and I'm also going to be taking another class 62 before the end of the event. So that's basically all I've been doing is Mirmok Ruins and grind, taking advantage of the event. Right now, if you use 500% scroll, 600% scroll, and the 1000% event, it's 10 hours to 62. It's literally super easy.
Yeah, I got a message saying you were karma bombing some of our old guildies from Aftershock.
Oh yeah, I don't have pity on anyone. Listen, I was in the grind spot first. I mean, either you're gonna side with the first come first serve or the stronger own the grind spot. All right, I had some free tiers that Probus kindly gave me, and I decided to use them. All right.
They even offered to go to a side rotation or have a side rotation for you.
I don't have my chat on, so I don't know what's going on with all that.
Oh, that's right. You're playing control, you.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm Smash. I think everything's cool. It was fun.
No, it's
we had
not.
Some good
I'm
PvP.
gonna find you after the podcast.
Oh yeah.
Wow, griefing Smash.
Yeah. I'm gonna rep my set, man. I'm gonna twist my fingers.
He's also mad that Moose is too low on the list. You're too
I was
mad that
gonna
Guardian's
say,
too
man,
high on my
he's-
tier list, and he's too mad that Moose is too low on the tier list.
He's a blade class. Just give him a spot. Have some pity.
Dude, if
Yeah.
someone can play Musa at this time in the meta, like, dude, they've seen some shit. You should just give them the spot.
Oh, you're a Musa player? I have to take pity on you. I'm so sorry. I really should have, honestly.
Yeah, you should have. Terrible person.
Mm.
Marlon, how you been, man?
Pretty good. I am continuing to gamble distortions for profit. It's extremely addicting. I think the only thing that's going to stop me is when I run out of 110 stacks, which at this rate is probably going to be pretty soon. But yeah, I'm thinking about I'm thinking about a lot of things. I might tag a Lawn or a Hosh for T1s. I'm really enjoying T1s, and I'm trying to like figure out how to get more out of it and what different classes to try and stuff like that. So that's where a lot of my focus is right now. And then yeah, just still enjoying Hadoom, still trying to progress, still trying to gamble as much as I can. Playing some Darkest Dungeon on the side.
Oh yeah, how you enjoying that?
It's extremely frustrating. Sometimes it's like good frustrating, like, you know, when a game just kicks your ass, and other times it's like BDO frustrating, you know, where it's just like, God damn it, why do they do it this way? So it's been a good mix.
I love how when you play a new game, you're always like constantly IGN reviewing it as you play it.
Well, there's some things that are just so obvious, like from a game design standpoint, where it's like, okay, there's clearly an easier way to do this if you just think about it for 5 minutes. But that's true of anything in life, not just games. Like, I don't know.
Oh, you know what I did this week? I went to Taco Bell. They have a case.
Perfect example.
They have a new a chalupa or something like that. Anyway, well, I went there to get the new chalupa. And these dudes, they gave me the order of the guy behind me. And so I ordered 2 of these new chalupa things. And the guy behind me ordered like 20 fucking tacos. So I got my correct drink and I got like 20 tacos. And I figured that was about even because I didn't get the correct order, but I got way more worth in value.
That is a perfect metaphor for what I'm trying to say. There's some of these video games, it's like they're giving me the order from the guy behind me. Like if they just paid attention, they could give me what I wanted. But instead, they're giving me the order from the guy. Like, how hard is it?
It's not.
It's your job.
There's 2 bags. You grabbed the wrong one. How? It's like, come on.
Sounds like you had a really good week, man. Taco Bell giving you more food than you paid for. Did you get a sunburn when you went out this time, or?
I do have a tan on my arms because I hold my arm out my window when I drive, so my arm has a tan now up to the shoulder, up to the sleeve. So
well, you don't take shirtless Tinder pictures, so you just look tan when you're.
Anyway,
I had a pretty good couple of weeks here. I moved back to my old place. Actually, I had an AC leak at this house. There was a bunch of things wrong with it, and I had an AC leak. And my insurance company gave me more money than I really needed to fix the damages that happened. So I've been remodeling my house, and I got a new setup back here with mostly stuff that I already had. But
did you just admit to insurance fraud?
No, it wasn't fraud.
Does give you better value because of your insurance policy?
I've got a inexpensive contractor, and they way overvalued the cost of drywall. I don't know why. I don't know what drywall I'm supposed to buy, but I just went to Home Depot and got drywall. It wasn't $7,000 worth of drywall, but that's what the thing said. So I don't know. But I got to fix up a couple of things, and house is looking good. I'm feeling good. I had a couple weeks off of stream. I really haven't played too much BDO. I'm up to 3 games running on my PC 24/7 when I'm going to bed, though. 2 instances of Star Wars Galaxies and BDO. So that's cool.
That's cool. Maxing.
Yeah, the computer takes it like a champ. I actually have a hole drilled in my wall right here, right in front of me. And all the wires for my computer go through that wall, and the computer is in the living room. So it doesn't heat up my actual stream room. So it's a very comfortable setup here. So I'm pretty happy about it.
Nice, dude. I need that in San Diego.
It's fucking luxury. Well, it's Florida here, so I'm really just saving money on the AC.
Although during the winter, you kind of want it in the
there's no winter here, so
not at all.
No, it never gets colder than it may get to freezing in the middle of a night twice a year, and then by the time it's morning, it's at least 50 degrees.
In San Diego, freezing is like 68 degrees.
No, we'll get down into the like high 30s in the middle of the night, like once or twice a year, but it's really just like 60 at night for winter for a couple months.
So when are you going to start doing Bitcoin or another like Dogecoin or something mining? Because then you'd have 4 things running a PC and you'd be making money.
My best friend does Ethereum mining, and he does really well with it. But I don't know. I don't really want to get into that. I've got my day job's been going pretty well, so I've been kind of focused on that. But I've been AFK hitting a dummy. I've done a little bit of grinding. I don't know what, man, they gave us the 1 AP back, and it's like throwing my gearing thing all off again, trying to figure out what I'm saving money for. So I'm just going to save a pile of money and see what I decide. But I'm going to go to war tonight. I think I'm going to bring a Suck Wizard to war tonight.
Oh, you're actually coming?
Yeah, I've just been moving. I'm going to actually start coming to most of the wars.
Don't be one of those, Tim. What the fuck?
Yeah, let me just play Tamer. And when my chat asked me 20 times a second, why I still play Tamer. You re-rolled?
Yeah, dude, fuck that class.
You were such a salty bitch every time somebody asked you about it. I'm glad you finally did that.
That's why I re-rolled. Fuck that.
Good. Class, dude. Are you playing Sag?
No, I've been playing Succession Guardian a lot lately. I haven't decided on what I'm re-rolling to. I'm still kind of in that phase. Maybe, I don't know, I've been liking Hash. I played a lot of Hash on the Global Labs back last summer. So maybe Hash. Awakened Lawn's also kind of cool. We kind of accomplished similar things.
Those are my rerolls. You're stealing my rerolls.
I thought you were gonna go suck Valk, dude. You already have the gear.
Maybe I should. That would be easy.
Yeah. You're gonna get carpal tunnel by the time you're 40, though.
Well, the reason I was looking at Lon or Hosh is because I'm playing on Flex a lot of times now. If I was staying with the main ball, I'd probably go Valk or just stay Warrior.
Dude, I know this is obvious, but Guardian fucking destroys.
Well, for like killing rebuilds, Lon and Hosh are both just on another plane of existence. It's completely impossible to prevent either of those classes from just destroying your whole base by themselves. It's fucking ridiculous.
Very true. I felt like we needed more. Every time I've gone to war, which has only been a handful of times, it felt like we still needed more heals. The heals rotation isn't quite up to snuff, so I figured I know how to play Witch Wizard pretty well. I figured I could.
I think Null's heals are really fucking good right now, dude. I guess more is always better, but I'm always like amazed at the shit that I live through when I'm with the main Null ball.
Well, I got to bring the triple dagger stab back too. So
that's true. Yeah. Is there like a prime dagger stab that does like?
There is. So
actually,
yeah, there's a prime dagger stab. So you can't really spam it the way it's supposed to be spammed to do triple dagger stab. The only way to really triple dagger stab correctly is Awaken a Wizard, which can't do it at all, and Succession Wizard doesn't do it very well.
Man, one day I want to make like a collectible card game or a gacha or something with all the characters from BDO, just so that I can have a Tim Allen character with a triple dagger stab ability. It'll have the highest multiplier in the game.
300% multiplier, one for each stab, 100% for each
Tim
stab.
Allen, 4-star legendary pull.
Give it 1% accuracy though.
There's a clip of Jackie Felix attempting the triple dagger stab, but he only did it twice. It was only a double dagger stab. So, it's often replicated, but never.
Yeah, I feel like if you're gonna do the dagger stab, you got to go for all three. Two is kind of cringe.
Yeah, well, I thought so too. All right, so enough of the bullshit. Potion Shop. You gonna take us through the patch notes and what's new with BDO or what? You're gonna get it your brother.
The brand new class is out, Sage. I guess we'll go through each of our opinions on it. I assume all of us have dabbled in it or looked at it a little bit. What do you guys think?
He's definitely in beta still, like 100%. I think we're gonna get the Nova treatment, where for the next 6 weeks they're gonna do a page of patch notes adjusting his animations and his combos and stuff like that. There's absolutely no chance they leave him how he is now. His super armor on his E doesn't even work if you iframe afterwards, apparently. And then even like the super armor on the iframe, it's supposed to be a second, but it's more like maybe half a second at best. And then just all of his animations are too slow across the board. He's got a variety of issues right now. He looks fucking cool, though. I gotta say, aesthetically, I don't think I've ever played a new class and just felt like immediately, maybe when I played Awakened Musa for the first time, but dude, dropping big purple cubes on top of enemies is really goddamn satisfying.
You didn't think Guardian's Awakening kit was alluring aesthetically?
Yeah, it was. But I think that this is in terms of like look and feel, I think this is on another level. I think they're really I don't know. I think this is the best they've done in terms of making a class just look and feel really cool.
So I haven't had time to really play it since I've been moving and stuff, but I can speak to the aesthetics of it. I really like that they did something. I like the tie-in that they did. That when you're doing there's some quest line where you have to go into whatever that old Kortuga thing is. What's that? Tungrad? Those Tungrad mountain areas. And you have to stand and find things on the cube that he like comes out of in the trailer. I thought that was all really cool. And I think for as many like ancient weapons that we've killed and forced to grind in this game, having something kind of tying into that entire thing as far as a class is concerned is really cool too. Is there any like standout animations that are stolen from other classes? Is that still like a really big thing?
I think almost all of them are.
Yeah, what? I saw a lot of Awakened Wizard.
So what they did is they didn't change any of the character animations. The animations of your character and what he does with his hands and everything, they're all the exact same. But all the animations of the abilities that you see, like the cubes and everything, are unique and new.
Right.
and then the code is existing code. So like for example, his back and left click is like a DK lightning bolt. His back and F is a the meteorite from Wizard. His dash forward and dash backwards is a violation from a sorceress. It has the exact same thing, but you just do it twice automatically. And there's a lot of things that are like that though. I'd have to go through and like I went through with Chad and we found out almost every single one was tied to an art class in some form or another. Like your shift and right click is your Nova Awakening, like Pierce ability. So almost all of them are from other classes, but I think they did such a good job of making it feel new and unique. I don't think anybody would care, right? Like on other classes, they didn't feel new, they didn't feel unique, but on Sage, they really do feel unique and new. And so I don't think it really matters that they're taken from our classes in this case. I do wish they'd done a few new unique abilities that weren't from our classes, but I think they're saving all that for the Awakening is my hope. Because that's what they did with Nova in a lot of cases. A lot of Nova's abilities, her animations were from other classes, but her Awakening has several new. So I think we'll probably see when the Awakening comes out, we'll probably see a lot more unique animations like we'd have for Hashin and Nova.
I didn't feel like any of his animations were copied from other classes. I guess in terms of the way the character or the hands move, sure. But I don't know. I wasn't looking at that at all. I was like, in terms of the actual skill particles and the way they land, and like the way that even the way that they hit, like the way the hitboxes are designed on the skills are kind of bizarre in certain ways. Like he has an issue where if you're standing too close to a wall, your abilities won't necessarily hit your target. So
Guardian too.
Yeah, he has an elevation problem for sure, especially on almost every single flow that he has. There's an elevation problem. If the mobs are just like a sneeze above you or a sneeze below you, level wise, then you just do 0 damage. I was super frustrated at Polyforce because Polyforce is very uneven ground, and I would try to do the flow for your back or S and F, and the flow for it, you can aim somewhere else off like super far. So I'd one shot the pack in front of me, then look to like the right or left trying to one shot another pack, and it would, 30% of the time it just do 0 damage.
So this is by far like the least polished class released.
I'm not sure about that because like I feel like his Rift Chain movement is like some of the best feeling mobility like in the game. Period. Out of all classes.
Mm.
Yeah, but the problem is every time you come out of Rift Chain, you're I don't know, it's so slow to like execute. Like if you do one of his charge abilities and then you Rift Chain, when you come out of it, there's this massive pause where you're like, hey, anybody want to grab me? And then the ability finally goes off. It feels so much like slower and clunkier than any other class has on release.
Yeah, go ahead.
You think they're just like I thought originally maybe they had a bunch of classes like finished, like Apex Legends had a leak where like the next 12 classes in that game are already made and developed and ready to go, and they're just like, piecemealing it out. You think that they just kind of put a car battery to the developers' nipples for the classes and just said, shit them out faster, and there's no like backup of classes ready to go for BDO?
I think they just don't have a good mechanism for actually balancing classes in terms of like chaining skills and combos and stuff, because it's kind of the same thing that happened with Nova. Like when they released Nova, they've changed every single one of her skills, especially in Awakening, at least like 2 or 3 times at this point. They've sped up the animation. They've made it chain in other skills. They've added new cancels that weren't there before so that you can like overlap your skills in a way that you couldn't before.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I don't know why that happens post-release instead of pre-release. Like surely they can play the class and feel that it's clunky and that certain animations are overly punishing, et cetera, et cetera. But it's
got to
like,
be hard
it's
to
almost
play
like
test this.
well, yeah, it's almost like they rely on the players to test the classes, right? And I think that's exactly what's happening with Sage.
It's got to be hard to play test this game. Like I'm trying to play a new class with like only your buddies in the office to help you out with it. I don't. Especially dog shit at the game.
Do you guys think like they should go back to putting the class on global labs for 2 weeks like they used to?
No, I don't like that. I like when the class is I like all new content should be released directly to the new servers or to the live servers. Releasing new content on the test server is such a buzzkill.
Because I feel like it's kind of like a give and take, right? Like if they put it on the global labs and we kind of already know what we're coming, it's not exciting anymore, but we get it and it's a little more polished. I think it's okay to expect a little bit of like, issues from a first week release,
Yeah, but like your main source of income is playing BDO, Moreland, right? Like from just a standpoint of as a consumer, it'd probably be better if they had the class come out for a couple weeks, to get some like unofficial play testing before live.
Well,
You think so? I think that kills all the hype.
I'm not.
Same thing with new expansions. I think it completely kills the hype when they do that.
Yeah.
Really?
Oh yeah, I mean it's the same thing like when Korea has something like Korea got Drigan like almost a year before us, right? And then by the time we got Drigan, no one even cared, and it wasn't balanced well.
Well, there's a difference between a whole new territory a year before and a beta class coming out a couple weeks and then launching with a bunch of really good patch notes. So it's
even
launch.
Odalita though, like releasing Odalita new soon or too soon. When that shit came out, I wasn't really excited for it because there was nothing to discover. Like everything had already been found.
Yep.
I don't know. I really think that like big new content releases should be released to the live game, and that they should just have a better mechanism for testing these things. I don't think anyone expects the new classes to be perfect on release. Everybody understands that there's going to be balancing and tuning afterwards, but the degree to which the last two classes in particular have been released unfinished, I think is the highest we've ever seen. I don't think Nova has gotten more changes in 2 months than most classes have gotten in 5 years. Like the sheer volume of tweaks that they've done to that class, I think indicates that they are having trouble keeping up with this new pace they've set for themselves. And I think we're going to see the same thing with Sage.
Well, it's a better pace, or a quicker pace rather, and it's there's no global labs at all either, so they can't even take in feedback. So it's kind of like a double whammy, I guess. I don't know.
Hosh was so good though. Hosh was so fucking well designed on release.
It was on.
It's night and day.
Well,
the release of Hosh compared to the release of Nova and Sage.
You have to be clear about a couple things here. The PvE side of things has been pretty well balanced on all the new classes. On the PvE side of things, the main thing we're discussing now is the PvP side of things for people who are listening. PvP side of things was really good on Hoshin, but really poor on Nova and very poor on Sage so far.
Right. So balancing PvE is really easy. You go to one of the pre-noted rotations, you take the main skills of the class, and you run around a couple times, and you go, "Yep, I got 5,000 trash." And then you move on. It's the other intricacies in how the skills flow together, how the class feels, how it performs in PvP, in 1v1, stuff like that. That's, PvE balance is tuning some percentage numbers. That's not hard.
It's not even necessarily effectiveness either. Like what I'm talking about is, part of it is efficiency or effectiveness in PvP. Sure. Part of it is just fun. Like part of it is just playing the class and having the class feel good. Sage's animations and his look feels good, but the way his skills execute doesn't feel good. It feels slow and clunky. It doesn't feel smooth. It doesn't feel like rewarding to, move around and drop a big like cube at the right time. Like everything just feels way too slow and punishing. And it was the same thing with Nova on release. Like her movement skills didn't feel good. They were always running in the wrong fucking direction. Like they had to fix the way that her movement skills move towards the camera. Like, is that necessarily going to make her a stronger class? I mean, kind of, but it's more just about making the class responsive and do what you actually want it to do when you're pressing your buttons. So like just from a pure fun factor, I feel like the class is incomplete, regardless of its trash per hour. I think in terms of grind speed, if anything, it's probably going to end up being overpowered just because it's a bunch of high multiplier, huge AoEs. But yeah, I don't know.
I think it's pretty good. I think the problem is that they're balancing these spots right now based on in-game grind spots and not new player grind spots, and I need to take both in consideration. So, like, I'm at Mirmok, and I do full damage. I basically do forward right click, and then that goes into SE, then it goes into SF, and then that goes into shift right click. And that's basically all the abilities I use. You can rotate 1 or 2 extras if you need a fill or you get CC or something, right? But that's basically all you need, and it feels great. So I think at high-end spots, it feels really, really good when the mobs are somewhat tanky. The problem is at low-end spots, when you one-shot the mobs or you two-shot the mobs, the mobility between packs feels like garbage, and I think all of the melee-type skills are just fill, and they're not they're not meant to be used in PvE at all. And so a new player who uses those, it just feels clunky. That's like shift left click, shift F, F. All those abilities don't really have any synergy with anything else. And I think they just put those in there as fill, so they can say, look how many abilities we have in the class. And if you just remove those abilities from the class and told people, hey, play the class, they'd be like, wow, this is amazing. I wish there's a few more abilities. But they wouldn't make the mistake of picking the abilities that are just fill abilities that are shit. And that's been my experience is at Polyforest, the mobility between packs and my options was complete garbage. But once I learned how to play it and at high end grind spots, it's actually really enjoyable. That's been my experience, though. I don't know if you guys find something similar.
I disagree with that a little bit because I think there's a trade-off that has to be made between like lateral movement and chase movement. You have some classes that can chase super far, but they don't necessarily have the ability to dodge a lot. And then you have other classes where it's kind of the opposite. They can dodge around a lot, but if you run away from them, they can't really chase you. Like, Sork kind of comes to mind there. I think he's more like Sork in that regard. He's got a lot of ability to kind of move around and go invisible and get behind you, but he doesn't have a lot of ability to chase you down. And I think that's a necessary trade-off.
I'm trying to figure out why this matters. You bring this up every once in a while, and if the game is moving in a direction, right, like all the grind spots, there's no one-shot grind spots anymore. So when you're starting off in a game and you're new and you don't know what you're doing and you don't have gear, does it really matter how well you traverse polys for, a couple weeks or however long you're there, versus the longevity of being able to grind what's now medium to high end grind spots? I don't see the point here.
My point when bringing that up is that I think right now that the new player experience on Sage is garbage, but the veteran player experience at veteran player grind spots is really, really good for PvE. And I think that a lot of sentiment from the Sage feeling like it's not really good and has a lot of clunkiness to it comes from the fact that they didn't balance the classes around. They didn't like all the melee skills don't have any synergy. And they don't have synergy because you don't need any of those skills at the high-end grind spots.
I don't know.
I was grinding Blood Wolves, and it felt really good.
The Superman dash is his hardest hitting PvE ability, hand down. Like if you do the Superman dash forward, then Superman dash backwards, getting the back attacks, it's its hardest hitting PvE ability.
Oh yeah, for sure. The camera's weird on it though, because if you want to go in a straight direction, you have to do a 180 with your camera. So you do like a dash, then you do 180 with your camera, then you do another 180 with your camera, but the Sage automatically faces the opposite direction. So you end up going forward twice as fast, but you end up also facing the wrong direction for your character.
I always wonder with stuff like that if they want you to spin your camera or if they literally forgot that was possible.
I'm betting they forgot. I mean, the intended use is definitely just to do forward right click, Superman dash, right, and then you're done. And it's just DPS. I don't think they ever intended to be mobility. Which I think is unfortunate because it is a really good mobility skill.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't really have any mobility issues grinding Blood Wolves, and I was one-shotting all the packs. So maybe he struggles at polys or something, but I think that's extreme. Like, I don't think his PvE movement's that bad.
Well,
I think
I'm talking about the melee skills.
Choices in PvP is a lot more of a problem.
I'm talking about the melee skills, not the mobility. The mobility, I think it has some quirks to it, especially with the animations and no animation cancels. But I'm mainly talking about the melee skills, and people pick melee skills, and then they say it's clunky. But the melee skills are you just never use them really in PvE. That was just my point, which is fun. What do you guys think about Succession coming out day one? Do you think this is? I think a lot of people said it's good. Do you think so too?
Well, oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I've been crying about this for like a lot of different class releases. Yeah, because before you release a class and it kind of like sucks all the excitement out of it because you're like, oh, look at these skills that might be good when the Succession version comes out. I guess I'll play this for an hour and then go do something else because this is pointless and a waste of time. But with Succession, there's actually something you can start to learn and work on and like get a feel for the real class. So yeah, it's definitely better.
Do you think that The Awakening being released 4 weeks later is a good thing or a bad thing? You think they should release it sooner than 4 weeks, or you think 4 weeks is enough time?
I think 4 weeks is enough. I mean,
when you've got Succession, what does it matter? And there's so many problems with the kit as it is. You really want them to pump out more shit. not shit, but you know.
I think it also gives them time to, if they do tweaks every week that are purely focused on the pre-awaken and the succession, then the succession will be in a pretty good spot once the awakening finally does come out. So I mean, it can work out depending on how they use this 4-week buffer before the awakening is released.
I wouldn't be surprised if that 4 weeks turns into like 6 weeks. I think at some point, if they're actually listening to feedback, I think that this class is going to catch up to them in a big way. They're going to have to stop and think like, oh yeah, we actually need to sit down and focus on this thing.
They've made some interesting changes, and this is kind of lead into Global Lab a teensy bit. So for they made a change where the level rewards go up to level 62 now, and I think this
What'd you say?
the level up rewards for Sage go to level 62 now. And they're also making a change on the Global Lab where Olvia you can level up to level 61 and 99%. So this seems like they're kind of adjusting the level curve in the game more appropriately to where it actually is, rather than where they thought it should be at level 60. I think it's a pretty good change. Like, do you guys even care about the level up rewards anymore? Like, do you think they're good or bad?
I would if they were good. I mean, I think it was very good for them to move the Kaposhas up to the levels they did. But then shifting the 63 through 65 rewards to Tri Kaposha it's like when the original Kaposhas came out. Like, who was going to use a Kaposha belt when you hit 63, or especially the neck at 64? They were kind of just like joke rewards. And I think there's still joke rewards as a Tri Kaposha, but it makes a lot of sense for people to get rewards for 58, 59, 60, 61. Like, I think that feels good for new players and gives them, a clearer line of progression. Kind of streamlines things in addition to the Narcillan gear. And that's fine. Honestly, we're at a point in the game where a lot of the old gear kind of just needs to get deleted from the game so we can simplify the whole thing and like move into the next era.
Yeah.
It's a big argument for or maybe evidence of seasons being deleted, that's for sure.
Yeah, let's get into
It's kind
that.
of crazy to think though that like trading pin Naru gear in, which you get by time you're done with the Medaya quest line, for enchilada gear that's equal to Tri Blackstar, like that's kind of crazy.
Enchilada.
It's like duo and a half Black Star, so it's a little bit worse than Pen Tuvala, but it's like better than Tet. It's kind of an awkward spot, but yeah, it's like slightly better than Oasis gear.
I'm curious. Like, all right. So the reason why we think Seasons is going away, for people who are listening, is Sage was released on NAEU 2 weeks before the end of the season, and previously Hashashin and Nova came out at the beginning of a new season, which is a little sus. And on top of that, they're making it where Nara gear, pin Nara gear can now upgrade, which you get from doing the main quest line and upgrading with beginner Blackstones. You can trade that in for some really close to in-game gear. Like, it's very, very good gear. And so this is kind of leading people to believe, like, why would you do that if you have seasons? It kind of doesn't invalidate seasons. And on top of that, the new class didn't release with the new season. So a lot of people are thinking that maybe they're either reworking seasons or they're going to remove seasons entirely. So do you guys think they're just going to rework it, or you guys think they're going to get rid of it entirely?
I think so, yeah. I don't think they're going to get rid of it entirely. I think that my hope, my like optimistic side, wants them to just have a new version of seasons that's actually interesting for existing players. And rather than trying to make it such a new player focused thing, like for new players, they should have the new player experience that's, not on a schedule, that people can come into the game at any time and learn BDO in a way that makes sense and isn't super overwhelming, because that's a big problem right now, is new players just being confused as fuck and giving up. So they need to clean that up without tying it to the seasons and just make season like a fun optional side thing. There's so much they could do if they treated seasons the way that like PoE treated seasons, It
would also be nice if they put a little more thought into it, instead of like just, okay, a new season, bum rush to the main quest line up to Medaya. Okay, get your Kaposha accessory, then you're done, right? Like, it would be nice if they kind of put a little more thought into it, try to capture what like makes the game fun or like gets you hooked for the first time,
Mm-hmm. Tim, what do you want from it? Like, what do you want them to do, or what do you think they're going to do?
BDO Classic. I want seasons to be BDO Classic.
Yeah.
With an accelerated, Medaya into, or I'm sorry, Calpheon into Medaya kind of thing, and then just reset it every 5 months, 6 months, whatever.
I think that'd be a pretty good option. And it like pre-pin gear or goes up to pin. What do you think?
Just try until like Valencia or something.
Yeah, I think they start off with plus 15, and then they release Medaya with try. They release Valencia with pin, and they just start all over again. Something like that would be super fun. And they could have different milestones, like at the end of each era, they could do a tournament or something. Like, there's so much fun shit they could do with it. You know, give rewards or titles or something to people who like have certain accomplishments during the season. I mean, literally, there's a million. Like, there's just so much low hanging fruit that would make something like that fun.
What would it be? I mean, wouldn't that just be the same thing we have right now, though? Like, wouldn't that just be?
No.
Because right now the whole reason seasons are boring is because you're doing the same boring content over and over again. Now,
I mean,
do realize. Go ahead.
Oh, my bad.
Well, I mean, I realize that the original like BDO Classic is way better from a gameplay like PvP standpoint, and I think that's really really good and enjoyable. A lot of people like that. But wouldn't you get tired of that if you did that 4 times in a year?
You wouldn't do it 4 times in a year. You'd do it like maybe twice a year. I don't think that it would be a 3-month reset if they did something like that. It would be minimum of 6, maybe longer.
I mean, one of the biggest thing they could do to make season more enjoyable is just not allow people to take quest accessories and shit in. Like, if day 1 of season people go in and they're already 200 AP from the jump, it's like, well, there's not that build up and having like that little bit of PvP altercation as everyone's gear rushing, you know?
You shouldn't be able to take any items whatsoever. None of your silver, none of your cron stones. Like, you 100%. Should have your account level stuff, your pets, your maids. That's all fine. But it's the quest accessories and also just the sheer number of enhancing resources that cross over into season. Like, even if you don't have the quest accessories, you can just slam your gear to pin with cron stones in a matter of hours.
I've been a big fan of the PoE leagues or PoE seasons, whatever you want to call them. Do you think that type of model would work in BDO, where they'd have like a
I think that it is so obvious that is the future of MMOs. It's shocking to me that more companies haven't figured it out.
Yeah.
Do you know how much fucking money Blizzard is about to make with TBC? Like, it's gonna be unreal, dude.
I think the thing is that it actually just boosts the popularity of the regular game too, even though the regular game is arguably not that good anymore.
Yeah, it does. Their subscriptions for Shadowlands or whatever went way up after Classic.
Yeah.
And I think that's a pretty good timeline too, because they do it once a year, right? That once a year, like, you know, everybody gets that nostalgia vibe that they've been craving.
Well, they haven't done like a full second restart yet, but I think that is the future. They'll do TBC, they'll do Wrath, and then they'll go all the way back to Classic again. And sooner or later, other companies are going to catch on to that and figure it out, and that'll be the new model. I think. I mean, it's shocking to me that this hasn't been figured out 10 years ago.
Yeah, because people like the rush of a new MMO. They like that rush of, you know, I want to get the best level first. I want to get the best gear first.
MMOs are fun when they're new.
Yep. And like, I want to be the first one to clear the raid, right? I want to do it day 1 or whatever. Everybody has their own little goals set like that, you know. It's fun to watch on Twitch and social media too. I do feel like that eventually that will get tiring though, because you would just kind of, once players figure out that's the thing, like the original game has, like, I don't know how many times I could do WoW Classic before I'd just be like, if I was a fan of it.
I have done a Ultima Online restart on private servers probably 30 times. It is still the most fun I have ever had in my life every time I do it.
That's funny.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see what they decide to do. If they're going to take the World of Warcraft Classic approach, or if they're going to take like a Path of Exile approach. What was this? What's the next thing? Oh yeah. What do you think about NAEU getting the new class first? I mean, obviously, a selfish standpoint is like, yeah, we get it first. Who cares? But what do you think that's a good thing or a bad thing that we got something first?
I mean, it's just like a symbolic thing, because after the transfer, right? It's them saying like, you know, what's up to the NAEU community. It's fine. I don't think it's going to stay that way. I don't think it's a big deal. Like, if every region gets a new class at the same time, I think that's the best way of doing it.
The Match Machine
The real test is actually coming up soon with like Ataraxion, supposed to be coming out next month.
That's the dungeon, right?
Yeah, so like if we get the dungeon content the same time as KR does, I think it'll be pretty telling of like how things are gonna go from now on, maybe.
Yeah, I could see
That's
that.
another thing we've been begging for years, right? Like similar to getting Succession on day one, being able to experience new content alongside with KR completely changes like the long-term draw of this game, because you get to experience the new content, and figure it out instead of just like, oh, KR solved this 2 months ago and there's no mystery and we know where everything is and what all the grind spots are, and like,
And the rotations for them and everything too. You want to get to experiment with
Especially if like
rotations.
dungeon with actual puzzles and shit you have to do to get through, not just like gear smash it. Because like if Korea's actually figures everything out, then it's like, oh, okay, we just go through and we do this.
Look at the Korean guide.
Yeah, basically. So I think that's going to be pretty telling whether it's a global release or if it's a Korea first and everyone else a couple weeks later.
Now, what we know about the dungeons so far, correct me if I get any of this wrong, is there's going to be 2 dungeons, and there's going to be like a sort of like a wave type thing in Sakraya, where you have like multiple waves of monsters, and they get harder and harder and harder, and you get to keep all the loot if you don't die and leave. But if you go farther, you have a chance of dying. You only get to keep half the loot. So one's going to be Valencia. One dungeon's going to be Valencia, and one dungeon's going to be Odolita, is what we know so far, right?
God, that's so fucking smart. If they actually execute that concept, like that's exactly the kind of thing we've been begging for so long. Like an infinite or a semi-infinite dungeon where you can progress and like you measure the risk of doing the next wave versus the reward of keeping what you've got so far, and you're constantly trying to like push into the next level. That's the exact kind of content that you need for in-game BDO.
They showed like a little snippet of it on a Korean gym note thing, and it has like obscures your vision around you to a certain point, and like have to like assess the risk of like if you keep going and like risk your loot or what. It looked pretty cool.
Oh, so you don't get the preview of the next area. You just get like, cause all your vision's like hazy or whatever.
Yeah, you can't see because it's like
it's like
circle,
do you wish to continue? I don't know. That's awesome. That's the Sakraya one, right? That's the Sakraya one that's doing that.
Been hearing a lot of promises, man. That's kind of where I'm at. Is like we've heard about all this cool stuff, and absolutely none of it's come to fruition yet. So it's kind of holding my breath, I suppose.
Yeah, what's the deal with Thornwood? Did we get any updates on Thornwood?
Well, in their dev log about Sage, they actually show video footage of Sage killing mobs in Thornwood. Now, those mobs don't look like they're scaled properly because he just one-shots them, but he is physically in Thornwood Castle for the footage they're taking. And then they also have shown some mobs that we haven't seen yet, and in the Sage trailer, and it's unclear if those are going to be part of one of the dungeons. They showed 2 mobs in his teaser trailer that look like they're from the Odolita dungeon potentially. Because they look like, one mob looks like it's from Olin Valley, and one mob looks like it's from Gyfin. But both mobs, like all the mobs at Gyfin are female in figure. But the mob that they showed that looks like Gyfin is male in figure. So it's a mob that doesn't exist in the game right now. So it's kind of interesting that they're giving us these teasers for future stuff that's not out yet.
I'm getting pretty sick of all the teasers, honestly. Like, they need to stop announcing shit unless it's almost ready. Like, I mean, Thornwood Castle. It's been what, 2 fucking years that we've been waiting for Thornwood Castle, like thinking that's gonna save PvP in this game, and we're just like, hey, I mean, are you guys still gonna do that? You still gonna release that? Yeah. And like, there's so much other content too. Fish farms, like we could go through the whole meme of the 20
we do most weeks
that they've announced that have never been released. Like, I wish they would just stop fucking teasing things unless they're within like a month of being released.
Like, I think like what Destiny 2 does or what Cyberpunk does, those type of things, those companies do a very good job of doing it well. What is it giving you like a steady pace of hints, but they're not like, they don't give you like big crazy hints or like screenshots, like months and months in advance. They'll have like, hey, this is our new video engine. Look at this. And it's like, we're working on it. And it's like they do a really good job of giving you teasers, but don't giving you overhyped until it's like that a month or two before it's out. I don't know. I feel like they have a lot to learn up because I feel like some things like Sage, we didn't learn about that. I feel like they should have given a teaser for Sage like a month ahead of time, but they didn't. So I think like some things like Sage are like way not enough, and then other things like Odolita are like there's nothing and it just comes out. I don't know. It's all over the place. Like some things are too much, some things are too little, some things are nothing. It's just they need to have like a standard policy on all of their marketing because right now it seems like they're all over the place.
Yeah, we need some Goldilocks. Just right.
Yep, I agree. About the dungeons, do you guys think they should be releasing dungeons like on a seasonal basis, and that's maybe how they're going to do the new seasons? Like every season will be a dungeon or a class.
I don't know.
Like, what do you think about like the future of seasons? Because it's obviously can't do a season. If they're going to continue doing seasons, they can't do a class every single season. That's not possible. So like, or it's not this.
I mean,
not feasible. I mean, it is possible, but it's not gonna. It's not. The players won't like it, right? So what's an
Like
alternative?
that's ever stopped them.
What's an alternative? Like, do you see like dungeon class being good, or like what?
There
like,
is so much. Like I could list. I could off the top of my head. I could go for hours with all the things that they could do with new seasons, dude. There could be special mechanics. There could be, classic. There could be progression. There could be different gear caps. There could be pre-awakening only. There could be fucking permadeath. Like there's so much sick stuff that they could do with seasons. I mean, again, just look at what other games have been able to do. Like it is very, very easy to come up with cool concepts for seasons, even if they're just short term. Like. I don't know.
Do you think,
literally anything?
Do you think
literally
seasons
anything.
have to reset your gear in order to be fun?
No.
Not necessarily. No, I mean there's stuff they could do with existing gear and existing progress as well, just with like alternate rule sets.
Is there anything else you want to say about the dungeon or the class? Anything else that we didn't talk about?
I'm just tired of speculating about like we were just saying, there's just too many teasers. I want some of this to come out. I'm so tired of talking about new classes, man, that are barely finished. We're alpha or beta testing them or something. It's like, just drop what you're doing and get Thornwood out.
Yeah, that's true. Are you guys taking advantage of the 1000% EXP event that's going on for the end of the month?
I could hit 64. Man.
64.
Wait, both of you hit 64?
No,
I'm 65%.
Yeah, I'm probably going to end the event at like, I don't know, 80% or something.
Dang. Not bad, not bad. What else do we have in here?
It kind of interrupted my horse training.
Because you're doing AFK horse training, now you're doing AFK training on dummies?
Yeah, I was going for T10 horses and I need those flowers of oblivion. Now I'm leveling instead. Although I guess like it ends at a certain time at night, right? So I don't necessarily need to dummy overnight.
Yeah, you just have to dummy during prime time.
It's probably before you go to bed too.
It's all weekend though, so you can dummy all weekend.
Yeah, definitely all weekend.
Yeah.
So the thing in here is all classes got an awakening ability. What do you guys think about it? Let's get your opinions first before I go on a rant.
Some classes got really cool shit, and some classes got very useless shit.
I put a lot of attention reading because in the patch notes they put like the reason for the skills that they added and why, and a lot of them were kind of really out of left field and like it makes you wonder if they really know what classes need, or like it kind of shows that they're not really listening,
Mm-hmm.
Or they're listening to somebody who doesn't know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's some of these, like you look at the Musa skill and it's like, okay, it's a new protected skill that gives you an accuracy buff. That sounds like something Musa needs, a new protected skill with a 9% accuracy buff. I think that's pretty good addition. And then you look at the warrior one and it's like, we needed to give warriors the ability to float after solar flare. And it's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, what do you? There's a skill that literally does that. That's built to chain off of Solar Flare. It already exists. Why did you give us a second one? Like, that's not what we did. It's the most bizarre explanation. Like, if anyone's actually played Warrior, I don't know what to make of it.
Once I saw that they gave Sork a frontal guard down smash, I pretty much wrote this whole thing off as a shit idea.
Yeah, she doesn't need either one of those.
That is what she is. Why would she need another one?
Yeah.
Luckily, they nerfed it from 100% down smash to 30%, but yeah.
Oh, so it's just like on par with everybody else's class, so they'll never use it. Fuck Sork.
I mean, it
dude.
still does a fuck ton of damage though, so
Weird.
it's at least usable.
I like the explanation for Witch too, where they were like, previously Witch had to switch to their main hand in order to do range damage, and that's just we can't have that. We can't have them being forced to change stances in order to hit people from outside of render distance. So.
For Awakened Witch, if they gave him a long range, because Wizard had a long range, they've got their shift RMB. If they gave Witch a long range, I guess they have uppercut.
What about detonative flow? Isn't it the same skill?
Right, uppercut. Yeah, I guess. If there is one thing which is lacking in its Awakening kit, would be long range damage.
I think they should have just given her a grab.
One thing that I'm kind of upset with this whole thing is I don't think it fixes any of the major problems. It fixes maybe like an individual class problem with the current meta, but the current meta sucks. We have slow stacking, we have RNG CC, we have too many super armors, too many CCs, too much damage, and too much healing. And these changes don't really fix any of the core problems in the current meta of BDO. And because of that, I could care less, honestly, about any of these changes at all for the PvP side of things. And until they start addressing some of the core meta issues that we have in BDO, I just don't see the point of this. This seems like wasted developer time, in my opinion.
How could they fix slow stacking and RNG resist? Like, I guess they could just
Make it so
slow stacking. They could nerf directly, but like RNG resist, how could they fix that?
Get rid of them.
Yeah, just
I think that I kind of have like a non-popular opinion on this, but I think RNG resists are kind of a must because, like, at that point, what do you do against Ninja just block jump grab 100% every time? And that's just one example, though.
I frame it like a PvPer.
I think the answers are complicated and it would require a larger scale vision and like an overall rebalancing of classes. It would be like a season update. This is a PP season update. It would not be something where you just like, we can fix this one thing. Because once you change RNG CC, every class would have to be rebalanced at that point. Because right now they're all balanced around it being a thing. I think one solution to making it
not balanced around RNG CC. There's some classes that are heavily fucked by adamantines right now.
Well,
Sage is actually one of them.
I think they are balanced somewhat around it. I think the solution to the problem, a temporary solution to the problem, would be to leave the items in the game, is make it where you get damage reduction from that type of CC instead of having RNG to resist it. So you have guaranteed damage reduction from that type of CC instead of any follow-up after that CC. So you could have, like, after a knockdown, you could have damage resistance of a certain percentage for a few seconds. And that would be based on your resistance that you have stacked. And I think that would be an alternative where you can keep the existing gear that's in the game without having to like completely rework all the crystals and everything as well. But like, I don't know. Anyway, going back to the kind of point is like, I just don't think this change really matters. These awakening abilities matter because it doesn't fix any of the meta problems. The nuance of how to fix them, you can be sliced at 1,000 different ways, you know. And I'm not the person to be talking about that either.
Yeah, I don't think any of this made any sense. I think it's an answer to a question nobody was asking.
Mm-hmm. I was hoping that some of the classes that were bad in PvE, that it was going to be designed to buff them in PvE, but it seems like a purely PvP focus. And if there's any PvE benefit, it's purely accidental. So there's a lot of classes that need some love in PvE for like balance wise. What do you think about
what class? Like what class? What class potion? What needs PvE balance?
Musa?
Trusa.
He needs some love. DK Awakening.
Really?
Yeah, DK Awakening only has 4 abilities, or only 4 damaging abilities, and then all your damaging abilities go on cooldown. You can use other abilities, but they are all like 30% less, or like 30% of the other abilities damage. So you can't use any of them. So you
When did
basically have 4.
DK Awakening get bad? It used to be the best.
Well, it was best at speed farming, kind of like Musa, right? But I think at killing tanky targets, maybe, I don't know. I haven't seen any Awakened
Well,
DK, so I have no
after
idea if it's true, but that would be my speculation, is that it just doesn't have sustained DPS. It has a lot of like movement in AoE, but not very good at just killing one pack.
Before Succession Guardian, it was about 5th place at most grind spots. But the problem is that when they came out with Succession, it just kind of all the Awakenings went pushed down by like 18 levels, in their tier list. And when they went back and buffed everything, they just didn't really buff everything properly on DK, because the alternative used to be able to spam your Spirit Legacy, your shift right click on DK Awakening, but the damage fall off on it's too high to really be comparable with Succession and current Awakenings that are buffed properly. Anyway, but like I was hoping that some classes like DK or Musa would get some love in this, and I think that actually may help Musa in PvE, but it's not going to be enough to make him, to put him where he should be in PvE.
No, I don't think it does much for him in PvE at all. I think it's mostly PvP focused. I think most of these skills were focused on real or imagined gaps in PvP.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. So this is a personal note. Something I enjoyed. They had a controller UI, which I think is really, really good, because there's a lot of people who enjoy playing with a controller, or people who prefer that, or I don't know. It's just they find it more ergonomic for them. And with this new controller UI, it actually allows you to reset your UI like the old /UI reset. And so if you're starting to have FPS jitters after having your game on for 24 hours, you can actually turn on the controller UI. You can turn it on, turn it back off, and it'll reset your game, so you don't have to turn off your game and turn it back on. Well, the thing is, it takes forever to turn it off and back on. So I don't think people can abuse it for invisibility and PvP and all that.
Do you remember why they disabled the last reload UI?
Yeah, because it made you invisible.
There's other issues too.
Yeah, well, I don't know if I want to get into all of them. But
you already did
bring back duping. Bring back duping.
So anyway, that's back in the game. It's really good from a FPS standpoint, because it can really stabilize your FPS in the game, make it a lot more smooth, less jittery. So I think that's really good. They can turn it off and on. Hopefully, they not bring back its additional features that weren't intended. That would be Monka S. But I do think that's something I was really happy about, because I constantly leave my game on for AFK training, and I won't turn it off and turn it back on before I start streaming. And so before, I just get stuck at like, really terrible, like stuttery FPS. But now I can fix that, so I'm happy about that. Another really good quality of life update, aside from the controller UI, is the updated family inventory this week. So family inventory now looks like regular inventory and no longer has the weird menu. And if you need to transfer something, you just go down to the bottom where the trash can used to be on family inventory, and you can now just move items from there. And I think this is a way better solution to the family inventory compared to what we had before. Now everything's in the same UI box and much more clean and much more usable, user-friendly. You guys like it?
I've never used family inventory. That's more or less thing.
You never used family inventory?
Oh boy, here we go again.
Oh my god, I love it, dude. It's so overpriced. It's such a malicious cash grab, but I fucking love it, dude.
Yo, I'm a big fan of it for the my worker food. I just put all my worker food in there, and the worker food is I can hold enough for like 3-4 days in there now.
I got my loot scrolls in there, my XP scrolls, my skill XP scrolls, my life XP scrolls, my foods, my elixirs. I got all kinds of shit in there now.
I hope they eventually let us put like rare items in there. So like maps, like infinite pots, compasses, things like that. That would be.
It's ridiculous that you can't put your infinite pot and your map in there.
I agree. The infinite pot and the map and the compass, they should all go in there. I feel like the compass and map would be a little strange, but I don't know. You just get 2 maids down, you do the same exact thing, so I don't see any reason why they wouldn't do it.
Yeah, I don't know. Compass might be a little bit too abusable or whatever, but like, there's absolutely no reason not to allow Infinite Pot to go in there, especially considering the pain you have to go through to get that thing.
I would go get it if they did that actually.
Yeah, it makes the value of it way better. I mean, that's because you just jump on any character and you're ready to rock and roll.
I love rock and roll.
We already talked a little bit about the Narcillan weapons and armor. Do you think that this is going to be sort of in between Tri and Tet boss gear, or Duo and Tri Black Star? Do you guys think this is a good thing to give players so easily? Because I don't know.
I think it's a little too easy. Like, I think it kind of made sense before where you had Naru into Tuvala and then Tuvala into boss gear. Like, there shouldn't be 40 different types of obscure green and blue gear that new players have to look at and just get overwhelmed by. We need a simplified, progress in early game now for sure. But this seems like a huge jump going straight from the Medaya quest line to being, essentially full Tet. It seems a little extreme.
Yeah. I'm personally concerned because the most fun part of the game is getting like your first Tri boss gear piece or your first piece of pin Tuvala gear. That's like some of the most fun, and giving people this gear for free, I think, devalues that excitement and fun that people have potentially. It's like if they get a piece of gear and it's basically the same thing, it's like, can you really get excited for getting a piece of gear it's basically the same that you already have, like really, really similar? I don't know. It feels like that might harm the enjoyability of the new player experience rather than enhance it.
I think it definitely does. Like, part of the reason why new MMOs are so fun is because of the rapid progression, right? And it's like, if you just skip the first part of the progression and you just hit one of the plateaus immediately, then you're missing out on all the free dopamine. Like, that's the whole point of playing a new game. It's like, oh, look at this new piece I got. So if you just skip directly to, like, mid to late game gear, and it's like, okay, well, have fun grinding for 3 weeks for your first upgrade right off the bat. That seems like that kind of takes away that initial gear chase from new people who are still figuring things out.
When the rest of the server's so far ahead, though, is it still fun being that far behind for that long? There's a balance to that.
Yeah, but I'm not saying that it needs to take longer. I'm saying the process needs to be different. So however many hours it takes to get full Narcillan, same number of hours, but instead of handing you the gear, they give you the resources that you need to upgrade the gear on your own, right? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And you spin that in a fun way. And the fun way is go grind spots, earn some stuff, and then go. It's not doing a quest line for it. I don't think doing a quest line is really rewarding.
Just an old way of doing MMOs.
People are gonna have no fucking idea how to upgrade anything too. Like, at least Tuvala kind of taught you how to upgrade your armor. Going straight into Narcillan, and the first upgrade you get is Tet or even Pin boss gear. Like, that's your first thing that you're gonna try to figure out how to enhance. Good luck.
Yeah.
Where are you gonna get your 80 stack? Like, what the fuck?
From the loyalty shop, dude.
Yeah, maybe this is maybe the next thing they do after this is they just look at the enhancing experience for new players and they just go back and rework enhancing for the first time. I mean, it needs some love, especially. Like, it needs some love for like making huge pin stacks, and it needs some love for like new players. Because, like, I don't know. Do you guys think that blue accessories are too hard to upgrade for new players? I mean, I can't imagine
buying blue accessories.
Well, yeah, blue accessories need to just be removed from the game at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah, either that or they just need to be updated and make it way easier to enhance and way easier to acquire. Because I don't think it'd be bad if you went and just grinded Witch Hex Sanctuary and made yourself a Tri or a Tet Witch Earring. You
can play the season.
Transfer your blues into yellows the way you do on mobile. I think that would be a good middle ground.
Oh yeah,
that's not a bad idea. Some type of something to smooth it out anyway, because no one's going to go for a pin Witch Earring right now. Nobody, like literally nobody. You might buy one for cheap on the marketplace because it's cost effective, but you're not going to go out and make a fell stack for a pin Witch Earring. Is my point,
Yeah, I'm going to do that right now.
Go buy one at the marketplace and smash it. Make some cash.
No, I'm gonna make it from base.
But yeah, I don't know. I agree that they need to. I think the new player experience definitely needs to be worked on, and I don't think the chilling gear is the correct answer. I kind of agree with that.
I don't know. I think it'll make more sense when the seasons are gone. You know, if it's like a duo and a half or something, or whatever the case is. I think this is going to have to be a solid wait and see. But you know, they're all valid points. They're obviously doing a lot of shit with this game. We just got to see how it all falls.
Mm-hmm.
I also don't really like the way the current season thing fucks with the market so hard, especially on like TED accessories and things. So you know how they go like getting rid of seasons. I feel like that would be much healthier for the market, to be honest.
Yeah, I think seasons having some impact on the economy would be cool if it was a rotating schedule and something that people had to invest time to influence the market. But right now, there's almost no time investment, and it has a huge impact on the market. So the difference would be like, let's say it did a season where you go and grind for Caphras by gathering. That could be a whole season. And so that season, Caphras prices go down, but the reason they go down is because people spend time actually going and acquiring the item and selling it, rather than just giving people a free accessory, and so all the old stuff is devalued. Like, I don't know, TED basketball going from 6 to 3 billion and then back up to wherever it is now, I think it's just definitely unhealthy for the game. I agree.
And Tetnex sitting at 8 bill from like 11 or 12 just 2 months ago.
I guess people are doing that because they're speculating in the next one being a necklace.
Yeah, they're just completely guessing that that's going to happen.
It makes sense. I mean, if you look at it, I kind of assume they're going to do something else different for the next season, and then the season afterwards they do a necklace. They give away a necklace for free somehow.
Yeah, because they did that Pirellis Star thing or whatever.
Maybe they do like an alternative to like Vel's Heart or something to help out that marketplace.
That sounds like a stretch. You think they know what that's selling for? Maybe.
Well, that's about it. I didn't get a whole lot of stuff from the Global Lab, so if there's stuff on there we need to talk about, let me know.
I tag you every week in BD Foundry's Twitter post. So you don't even have to look for it. Just when you open your Twitter, you see a notification from Tim Allen. You don't use Twitter.
You use Twitter? That's for social media warriors, bro. Do I look like a warrior to you?
Dude, there's so much content on there. It's so great. It's so great.
I have to admit, if I was not a streamer, I would not have a Twitter account.
I made one exactly because I was a streamer, and I've posted on it like, I don't know.
I'm so happy streaming showed me Twitter. It's awful.
It's terrible. It's like Reddit for adults.
It's objectively bad for you.
It's objectively bad. Every morning I just like wake up, go through my Twitter feed, and post the most ridiculous shit in my Discord, and we all have like a really big discussion about whatever inflammatory thing was posted on Twitter that they're probably getting banned for. It's great,
Pretty
dude.
sure I would get banned if I showed most of the stuff from Twitter that Tim posts in his Discord.
It's our early morning chats, bro. It's our early morning chats. It's mostly about gender.
Well, what do you guys think the rewards should be for hitting like 63 through 65 instead of these goofy capoches that
I think you should get a flat stat, a flat AP DP and bouncing back and forth for every level past 62.
I think that's good, actually. You get a hidden AP at every odd level that a lot of people don't know about.
Why don't we know about it?
My solution to this is actually, I want to kill two birds with one stone. So I think they should remove 100 AP from AP brackets over the course of as you get them, right? And then they give you that AP back as monster AP, but you get it by leveling up to 66 or 65 or whatever is appropriate level. So you would get like your monster, what's this thing called? Your skilled hunter would go all the way up to like 65, and so you would just get 20 monster AP for every time you leveled up. Make it worth it.
And you're gonna take away bracket AP for that?
Yep. That way, it lowers the effectiveness in PvP, and it takes the combo back to a 2 combo meta instead of 1 combo. And then on top of that, it doesn't affect PvE because you still have the same monster damage in PvE.
A 2 combo meta, huh?
I think, there's healing is also a problem in BDO, which right now there's not really a 2 combo meta. It's a you never kill you combo, or you never kill you meta, or you 1 combo the meta. Those are the 2 metas right now in BDO.
Wait, who's who gets never killed?
Tim found this Guardian that he was fighting the other day. Guardian, and the Guardian, he couldn't kill him. That's just an example, but that's basically how it is. If you don't have enough gear, you just basically do a 1 combo, or you can't kill a person.
Could it have been because I hadn't 1v1'd on Guardian in weeks? This was a person from Snake who outgears me substantially, and I missed every single one of my grabs.
What's your AP?
289 Kudum.
So you're 280 AP and you can't kill somebody. I think that's a problem.
You can't kill him.
I think you're an idiot.
Tim, didn't you just tell me just I framed it like a real PvPer?
Jesus Christ. Yo, I need to work on my 1v1 on Guardian. Using my Guardian 1v1 as any sort of evidence for anything is licking paint for a hobby.
The only person that is unkillable is like a full DP shy, I guess.
Nobody's unkillable. Everything dies.
And my point, though, is I think it should go... the AP right now is too high, and I think that almost no one would disagree with that. The AP scaling is, I think, too high. Do you think
to kill. The time to kill is too high. Yeah, I think the time to kill is too high.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's also that's slowly going away as people actually get into end game gear, though. Like DP in ultra late game, DP actually kind of catches up to AP once you're like 9,000 gear score.
As a previous guild master,
people have gotten to that point
of a couple times. It is painfully shocking how little DP most people in this game have.
Yeah. Do people just prioritize AP because this is what they like?
People in my chat are like, oh my god, Star's End, it's so busy, there's so many people. And it's like, yeah, but they've all got 190 DP. Like, they're all wearing Tuvala. Like, just, you don't have to duel for spot, just wait for him to flag up and kill him. They're literally mobs.
You just tag a Zerker or a Striker to your main character and just grab him, hold him up to some mobs.
You don't have to tag anything. Just line it up, man. Just make sure they're in the fucking mob spot. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I guess that is a good point, because I mean that's what I did. I focused on my AP before I focused on my DP.
Everybody does that. Then you're 289
money,
Kudum.
right?
Yeah, you're 289 Kudum with 3 fucking 20 DP.
Yeah. That's about what it was last year.
Fart in the wind at that point. It's stupid. Like, if you're 269 Kudum, get some fucking pen armors. Jesus Christ. Unless you're playing Tamer or something.
Do you think that's going to be a long-term fix then? Do you what would you guys? I mean, Moreland was asking about what they should do for level rewards, and I was thinking that would be pretty healthy.
What do you guys think about us going back to like 4-second potion cooldown timer in PvP? Like I was thinking about that. Some people was asking like, what was PvP like back in the 2016 days? And like that's one of the biggest difference, right? Not being able to pop a potion every single second.
Well, then you get rid of the pay to win for fairies, and that's not going to happen.
Let's just pay convenience.
Potions have always been sort of a weird thing in this game that probably should have never existed in the state that they exist.
Yeah.
I think if they're going to rework it, I would make it where it gives you 1 minute healing buff and heals you for about half the HP that it currently does over the course of a minute. So basically you'd have like 50% less healing, but you don't have to press the button once. And for the fairy, you just make it where it can pop things like food and elixirs for you, and that people would still pay to win that. Because I would love for it to pop my loot scrolls for me, or pop my potions for me, or my EXP, or food, or whatever. Or make it where it can pop the Villa buff automatically for you. There's like all sorts of things I could add for that potion slot to make it more convenient as you level it up.
Yeah, I would definitely like pots to kind of not be 1 second spam, but it's kind of, I don't know, that kind of also goes in the time to kill thing, I guess.
Yeah, they go hand in hand, right?
Up.
You know, if they lower time to kill, then potions, most people become unkillable because of all the healing in the game. But if you change healing, then the one combo gets even more absurd.
That's just not true. Like, we played this game when time to kill was lower. People weren't unkillable. Like, even in T1s right now, time to kill, if you do like a T1 hard, time to kill is like very, very slow. But that doesn't mean people don't die. It just means you can't one combo somebody. It means you either have to figure out how to re-engage when they stand up, or, shocking idea, teamwork. Hit them with 2 people at once instead of just 1v1ing during Node War. That's also a solution to the problem.
Well, I mean, there's several different versions of PvP. I mean, I'm just talking about the 1v1 side of things, right? And what comes to mind is like Musa, right? You either one combo Musa or he runs away until he's full HP, or like Lan, right? You one combo Lan, or she flies around in circles until she's full HP and has to grab up again. And those are the type of classes that I think the healing. Yeah, those type of classes I'm more like referencing to, that healing can be abused on in a negative way. That's not enjoyable for PvP. And so I think, they should have to leave the PvP fight entirely, and then they could be able to heal back up to full. I think that'd be much healthier, or do it over a longer period of time, to the point where the person might be like, I'm just going to go back to grinding if you're just going to sit at 0 HP the entire time, or 50, 10% HP. So I don't know. I definitely think that Musa and Lan are what come to mind, though, for like that are like abusers of the hit and run strategy. That's not really fun in BDO. I don't know. What do you guys think is like the thing they should focus on in PvP? Do you think they should focus on like large scale 1v1s, like leaderboard for 1v1s? Like, what do you guys think is the? I mean, obviously they're doing node word changes, but do you think it's like what's the big thing
There's a few things they could do to very easily fix PvP in this game. So the time to kill thing is a side effect of the fact that brackets balloon from like 261 to 269, right? That's always been a problem since people hit 261, and the devs were like, oh shit, people have been playing the game for a long time now. They actually have a lot of AP. They should have never made AP outscale DP in those brackets, because it essentially takes, until your 700 gear score for DP to catch back up again. And that's just a fundamental flaw with how they design the brackets. But in terms of actually making PvP fun, like time to kill set aside, very easy. Couple things. Ranked 1v1 and 3v3 arenas that have monthly leaderboards with cosmetic/title rewards. Very easy, very brain dead. Mobile already has it. Every other game has it. World of Warcraft did it 40 years ago, I think. In like the 60s, they did it. It was so long ago. I don't know what's taking so long.
It was on Mad Men, actually. If you guys watch Mad Men, it was on there.
On a Commodore 64, there was already ranked arenas. I don't know why BDO doesn't have them. So that's the first thing, ranked 1v1 and 3v3 arenas with periodic resets. Second thing is meaningful open world objectives. When you kill someone in open world, it should matter a little bit. There should be an increasing death timer. I'm not saying we need to bring back XP loss or anything like that, but if you die enough times, you should be forced to spawn town, or you should be forced to sit there and wait while your death timer catches up to you, or you should get res sickness or something so that it matters a little bit. And then on top of that, there should be open world objectives that it actually matters to fight over. Guilds should be able to claim nodes for bonus loot, like on the fly, like not node wars, but actually like you go to a Hadoom spot and you fight over it, and when you beat that objective, your guild gets a boost there for the next 2 hours or something like that. Like, there should be meaningful open world objectives that you can win or lose, so it's not just constant corpse pushing and aliens tears and all that bullshit. So those two things, and then finally just large scale like node rework. Maybe the node rework that we're getting is good, maybe it's not. But I mean, those are clearly the 3 things that are all like not that hard to implement that they could do to completely like revolutionize PvP in this game and make it like the premier competitive MMO hands down. Because we already have the best combat. There's just hardly any reason to use it half the time.
Yeah. There's also no consistency between all the PvP modes. They need to normalize that. RBF doesn't need to be different from 1v1, which needs to be different from every single node war.
Yeah, big true.
Yeah, I agree with that.
There's no way to practice.
Yeah, because every version is different, so you'd have to practice
I have
every single one.
No idea how tanky I am. None. 0.
Do you guys know how this drilling shit works? Because that actually might be an open world objective that's like kind of what I'm talking about.
What is that?
I couldn't really understand what the fuck they were talking about though when I read it in the global lab. You can like place a drill out in the desert, and then you get materials to make like a new node war tank or something. But I couldn't understand like what you actually do to build or defend your drill.
Maybe it's one of those things that they're tying to guilds.
It is that your guild can set up a drill, and it's tied to the home channel system they added. So your guild can select the home channel as their home channel where they can bounce through freely.
Ah. So like your server maybe takes.
You can invade other guilds' home servers and like attack their drills and steal the resources. And you use those resources to get buffs for your guild, like 30% life EXP and all this other shit.
Serendia is about to be fucking lit, bro.
So if you assemble claim like Valencia 1 or Caltheon 2, then you would place your drill there and someone else could invade during a set period of time or invade whenever.
Basically, so you have to defend the drill and other people can come and steal the resources that your drill is collecting.
That sounds actually really pog. I like that a lot. That's actually really, really cool. It reminds me sort of like the Last Oasis where they had the proxy servers. It reminds me of that a little bit.
I was thinking that too.
Yeah, I think it could be really cool, except for the fact that it's out in the desert. I'm not sure how does that work when your drill's under attack? Does everyone have to like ditch their loot scroll and mount up and right out to the middle of Elab Oasis?
You probably just put it out there, right? And you basically just defend it while for like a couple hours until you get the resources you want from it. So you probably activate it and people can see if it's activated.
Hashashin about to be meta. Maybe somebody at Pearl Abyss actually played Last Oasis and they're like, this is awesome. Let's put it in the desert too.
I mean, we know they watch our streams occasionally. They probably just watched one of us play Last Oasis and they're like, you know what? Let's see if they have any good ideas. We know they took like the Shy music idea exactly from Arcade. So like,
Yeah, let's talk about what they can do to make Shy more fun to make music on.
Aren't they adding more music instruments?
Shy in front of Tim, it's over.
What do you think they should add, Tim?
We could make the keyboard like a piano. Have you ever thought about that?
Don't they already have one? Don't they already have a piano?
Yeah,
we're going to be playing like Lavender Desert 15 years from now, like the fourth version of this game. Tim is still going to be mad about Shy pianos. He's still going to be bringing it up.
To be fair, that was pretty fucked. And it's funny. So get over it. I'm here for a reason.
Let's see. Yeah, I don't know. The drill system sounds like really, really, really interesting. I hope they basically take that type of idea and they don't just. I hope they like continue iterating on it because that's the type of thing. It seems like that you release it and then you keep on tweaking it until it becomes more fun. Because just like Node Wars, like there's issues with Node Wars that never got resolved, and like just like Odalita has a few issues that they never really resolved, like hunting spots, for example.
I think they resolved it. That's the sad part.
Yeah.
Okay, so every time I bring up Shy's, Potion Shop brings up how much he hates Odalita.
Sure, I think that's. I think those are equivalent. But
I think one of those is more significant than the other.
Isn't it?
Yeah. Legion being ass is a little bit worse.
But it's not. But it's
having
not.
Keyboard.
The point is that I feel like we've talked about this before, where they kind of quit and they don't do the final 10% that's most important. And I feel like the iterative process of changing like something like that to make sure it's better and better and better, I think every month doing little tweaks to it is something that they really need to do for that upcoming drill thing.
I mean, right, but it's still this whole conversation really comes down to they've said a lot of really nice words to us, right? They're flirting with us really well.
The drill thing's on Global Lab now,
isn't it?
Isn't
Their dick is. Right, well, Thornwood was too.
It still
They're
is.
talking their game up, but we got to
play it. Can't you play it on the Global Lab?
Yes, you could on Thornwood. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you can.
You could wait. There's a playable Thornwood?
Not anymore. I'm pretty sure it was on there for like a week or two, and then it was removed like last year, last year or the year before.
Yeah, it was on there for a little bit. They showed a screenshot. They had a screenshot of two bosses fighting on it. That's all I remember seeing about it. Yeah, they had one boss. I don't know. They had like one that was like what's the robot mob roams the desert at nighttime?
Latent.
Yeah.
And
Yep, latent. One mob was latent. That was one boss, and then the other boss was some new creature that I haven't seen before. But yeah, I think that I mean it'll come out eventually. I feel like honestly the Thornwood is like the Star Citizen of BDO.
Except for they're not taking thousands of our dollars before it comes out.
Oh, they taking
Well,
lots of
maybe they
thousands
are.
of dollars to pay to
Yeah.
win.
All right. Well,
Man, not in the same way though. Yeah, that's true. They're not selling spaceship bosses for the Thornwood yet.
man, I would pay for that.
There was like some like $50,000 people were paying for like Star Citizen ships and stuff.
About $100 ship.
oh my god, did you actually?
Yeah, it was like the same year. I had like so much fuck you money in like 2015 or 16 or something. I bought like Ashes of Creation, Star Citizen. I was getting in on that early stuff because I did Divinity 1. I got in on early on Divinity, and that went super well. And then all these cunts pop up like, hey, this game did well. We could do well too. And that was like right in the height of like, hey, so all these game companies are actually just stealing your money. I was like, oh, that's unfortunate.
That was like the peak of like Kickstarter right then, because
Yeah.
I backed Oculus Rift, Ashes of Creation, and what's that game that came out? Divinity Original Sin. I backed that as well. I backed that, and I think like one other game.
I think I even backed the second one of Divinity.
But yeah, I think like I don't know. That was kind of at the peak of that. I wish Kickstarter had done. I don't know.
Drilling came out in KR apparently.
Yeah, apparently.
Really?
Yeah,
We should look at some videos on that and follow up.
we
next
might
week on
get
it.
something. Yeah.
Well, if that's already. Wait, does that mean they have the new guild system then?
The home channel system.
So we don't
I
have
don't
the home
think they
channel
have
system yet.
Or rework, do they?
I mean, I guess what that means is that we should be expecting the home channel system. Really well. I guess they have the guild system. They have Node Wars now, and they have the drill system. So that's 3 new things that Korea has that we don't have yet. To be fair, those all center around the guild a lot, and I guess they kind of want to make sure it works well. I do feel like that's the type of thing that they need to test out on like Global Lab, and like I'm not really mad that that's in Korea first.
Speaking of Korea, did your new album drop yet?
Yeah, my new album did drop. March 14th is when it came out. We have 3 albums out on Spotify now. The new one's called Yolten, which basically the way I came up with the name is it was going to be a Lunar New Year album, and I ended up schedule didn't work out for it to be a Lunar New Year album, but I put Luna in the name, and then I put TY for thank you for all the people who supported the very, very thankful for everybody who supported making the album a thing and supported the stream. And so basically I rearranged Luna and then TY for thank you to make the title of the album. But yeah, that's what it is. It just came out, 20 songs on Spotify. On Potion Shop if anybody wants to look that up. Actually been really fun. It is by no means financially responsible to be releasing albums, but I think I've spent close to like $5,000 and it's brought in like 250 or something like that. So, but I enjoy it, and it's like providing something that a lot of people need on Twitch, which is some DMCA free music as background while they're playing some games, you know.
You know, I've been meaning to tell you, almost every SWG streamer plays your music now.
Well, I mean, you gotta take the wins where you can get them.
So that's like hundreds of impressions of your music.
Yeah, I'm actually really, really happy that it's got my every album is slowly just building steam up. It's like building up I don't know why you call
Steam.
that momentum, I guess. So next one's supposed to be coming out
Gaining
April 14th.
traction.
Yeah, there you go. Kerr with the words. Those are what I'm looking for. Traction. But yeah, next album's supposed to be coming out April 14th. Anyway, I guess back to BDO. The that's about all I had. Hopefully get this drill system soon. Is there anything else you guys want to talk about?
Yeah, I've been playing Suck Wiz and RBF this entire time, and I just want to say buff Suck Wiz.
Get out of here.
You having a hard time?
Nope. Not at all. Not at all.
I am jealous as a sage of their double teleport. Their double teleport's so much better than sages.
Yeah, we get to pick when it happens too.
Is there anything about Suckwiz that isn't better than what Sage does?
True.
The look of the abilities.
Yeah. My favorite thing is the sound effects. I love the sound effects of the new class.
You play with the sound on?
I do for this class. I turned it on and I was like, wait a second, this is incredible.
Turn it on 11.
It does sound pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Hut!
Oh, I have the voice on off. The voice is completely off.
Okay.
It's pretty close to Wizard right there, honestly. I mean, it is a little obnoxious, but it's really accurate.
I'm building awareness. I'm building awareness.
I miss all the screaming from Pirate Island. That was good.
I always want them to add a voice slider. That's what I really want. I want a voice slider and an NPC voice slider. That way I can go to town and I can hear voices in town and not hear my wizard scream his lungs off or hear Archer go, hi-ya, 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 over and over and over again.
Yeah, because if you're done, get going is so much better than
I miss the old voice actors. Bring back Dave. Bring back Amerigo.
True.
Make Amerigo great again.
That's just a meta thing to do. Fucking Destiny did it too.
Yeah, Dinklebot got replaced. To be fair, I think they replaced Dinklebot because there was so much controversy about Dinklebot.
I still before I go to bed some nights, I'm just like, fuck, they got rid of that.
This is your last thought before you close your eyes.
Yeah, I think about it, man.
To be fair, I do think that Peter Dinklage did. It was just so, I don't know, so memorable.
He did a terrible job. He was just famous at the time.
Yeah,
he was a terrible voice actor. Even for a fucking faceless robot, he did a bad job. But it was funny.
Speaking of Destiny Potion, do you think that the Sage Cube, like the way it kind of floats around and animation, remind you of like the Ghost, you know?
I was thinking that, yeah. The way that they made the little particles float around the Ghost is almost identical to Destiny's. I think they definitely took a lot of inspiration from, at least maybe took inspiration from the same place that Destiny did. I don't know. Because I don't think Destiny was like the first person that ever did something like that with a cube, but it definitely reminds me a lot of the Destiny little ghost. Even the way it like floats around and stuff. Like it floats around just like your ghost does.
I want to talk about other games.
What do you got?
Darkest Dungeon. I started playing Darkest Dungeon the other day.
Actually,
wait, did you actually?
No.
I actually was thinking about picking it up. I was watching Morlin play it, and it looks really punishing. I like it. I think it's going to be a fun challenge to play at some point. So I think we'll try it when I have some free time.
It's excruciating.
It's my kind of game.
It feels good when you win, though. If you enjoy having like really high cortisol levels, it's really good for building up your cortisol levels.
That's how you're putting on weight.
Is that how you do it? I thought that was the opposite.
You told me you put on weight last year.
Yeah, I thought cortisol.
It's just all the cortisol.
Cortisol like stuns your muscle growth, though, doesn't it? I guess for gaining fat, it's good.
Oh, you got muscle growth. Okay. We're gonna have to check the.
Dude, you've been enjoying that game, Moral. You've had some like really late night.
Yeah.
I like
Something
it because it's not like for a game like Dark Souls, you have to learn a new skill set, right? And like timing, and you have to memorize all the abilities, timing, and stuff like that. And it's like that's a different skill set, a different type of game. Sort of like you can't play FPS and MOBA; they're like different skill sets. And I feel like Darkest Dungeon doesn't require you to learn a new skill set; it's just strategy and like planning.
Oh, for some people,
I mean, I guess if you never played a strategy or planning game, then that's probably. But I've enjoyed RTSs, and that kind of gives me the same vibe as like an RTS does. Like, although it's different, but it's still strategy, right?
Yeah, I mean it's completely turn-based, so like you don't need any, abilities to react quickly or anything like that.
It just comes down to planning well and some strategic moods and like who you pick and how you rotate people. Has enough randomness in it too, because like I saw this one person, they you put them in. What did you do with the person that you Cosmos? You had this really cool trinket, and Cosmos, you put her in. I guess she went to the whorehouse.
Yeah,
And
she
then
always goes to the brothel.
she went to the brothel, and then she gave the brothel person the necklace that was so valuable.
Yeah, you can get these like legendary tier items, and then your team will just randomly lose them because they're like drunk at the bar. So
Yo, okay, all right.
there's not a goddamn thing you can do about it.
Relatable.
And I think it's like super. What I really like about that is it adds an element of randomness to it that requires you to continue planning differently and always keeping you on your toes. So you can't just have like the ultimate build forever and ever and ever. And I think that's pretty neat.
Yep, you can invest in a hero for like dozens of missions and get him maxed out with like perfect skills, and then you just get one bag streak of luck and he's dead forever.
Yeah. I think
It's almost like a roguelike with that then, huh?
Yeah, a bit. Except the world levels up too, so I don't really know what happens once like the world is super leveled up and then all your high level guys die. I think you just lose. I think you just like fucking start over from the beginning.
Oh no.
You've been doing like 6 damage for like 20 hours, to be honest.
Pretty much.
God, these Guardians are so bad compared to me.
Well, what are you guys' plans for the upcoming week?
Well, Kerr, have you been playing any other games?
Not exactly, dude. I've been trying to take advantage of this Hadoom inflation.
Yeah.
I probably need to start.
What's your
doing
favorite
that.
Hadoom grind spot?
Monastery for sure. The Bloody Monastery.
Yeah, I agree.
That's mine too. Orcs is a little too sweaty for me.
Like Orcs is nice, but like if I need to stop for a minute, then like all the lights go out. Then I gotta take the time to get the lights back on, and then a lot of the times the rotation you want will be taken on like every server, and then it's like
Yep.
it's so close to the mainland that you end up with like cockroaches bringing their guilds, and it's yeah. But I like Monastery because it's super laid back, and like you need more gear for Monastery than you do for Orcs because you don't have the light to make the mobs butter. So like, it's really easy to keep a rotation, honestly.
The what do you guys think of bandits? I was thinking about trying out bandits.
I haven't messed with bandits. I don't really know how it is. They're nerfing all these spots on Global Lab, and bandits is becoming like 250 AP. So it's gonna be interesting to see what happens to that.
I hope that's actually really good because they need a good 250 spot. I feel like that's a huge oversight because before you can't really. It's really hard to grind your Black Star upgrade because of the gear requirements. So that'll make it easier for people who are trying to upgrade their Black Star requirement. 250, huh?
Yeah. I think if you have full Tep Black Star with the monster damage reduction, you can like kind of work your way through it, but it is a little sketchy trying to go to the other spots. Like if you go the Black Star route and you can't Caphras, then it can be a little tough.
Mm-hmm.
Currently, the best thing about the Den is that it gives the highest rate for the yellow shards to make the ring upgrades. So like it's a lot less money overall than Monastery, but it has like double the drop rate for the ring upgrade shards.
That's good information.
Yeah, I'm planning on grinding there. I guess I won't. I was going to record my data down, but if they're going to make a 250 spot, then I'll probably just wait until it's 250 to start recording data.
Yeah, they're making a lot of the spots less tanky.
Yeah, okay. Well, I wonder why they're doing that. Is it really just the normies bitched so much that they just listened?
Well, the average player can't go there. Like the average player
Who cares? They can go everywhere else. Like, let us have something.
Yeah, but with the Black Star upgrade, there should be one spot. I don't think there should be many. I agree that it should be harder, but I think there should be one spot. There should have been one as 250.
Well, the biggest thing I don't understand. Oh, go ahead. My bad.
I was gonna say some of the stuff is just flat out too tanky. Like the Muskin boss has way too much health. He's designed for 5 people to hit him, but if you only have 1 or 2 people in the channel, it's like not even worth doing because it takes so fucking long. It's excruciating. So like some of the stuff, I'm glad they're nerfing it. But I don't know. I don't know if I have a problem with bandits becoming like a 250 spot instead of a 260 spot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but they're nerfing orcs and shit.
Yeah, like orcs is the one that I don't understand. It's like, why are you making orcs squishier when it's already like crazy?
That
money?
one's a little weird. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
There was somebody in my chat complaining like, I don't have Sakurai gear, so I can't grind out here. And I'm like, all right, well then grind out other places. It's like, well, that's not fair. And I'm like, just actually get fucked. I don't care, kid. Like, go do the rest of the game. We've been waiting years for something like this. You've been playing the game for 3 months and you want to fucking bitch that you can't do the thing I'm streaming? Like, I don't care at all.
I think it's just like, it's a sort of like the progression the game needs to take in consideration all angles. And like Odalita, I think it was a huge oversight that Odalita didn't have a 210 AP grind spot or something around that, right? 210 to 240. Because
I think it's that. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, because I think like they need like a Blood Wolf equivalent there, or like a Pilaku equivalent. That way people can enjoy it.
I think it's like this World of Warcraft mentality of all these soft little snowflakes that, see their favorite streamer playing these raids on Mythic, and then they can go do their looking for raid. And, I'm doing the same content. This is a lot of fun. That shit. I fucking hate that, man. Like, put in the time. You're so lucky that you're playing this. Well, you're not, but you're so lucky you didn't have to put in 3 to 4 years of grinding just awful, shitty cave content to be able to have this really cool aesthetic thing to be able to make money on. And you want to sit there and fucking complain. It's like, holy shit, dude.
I definitely agree that like it's better that they're finally doing something for like veterans, because if you think about it, almost the entirety of last year, maybe the year before that too, has been catering to the new player experience. Well, so like I think the Doom being for veterans is nice, right? Kind of
years of catering to new players.
Well,
years.
I think that if you look at last year, they did Odalita, and that came out with 4 grind spots that were not for new players. They also did Paddocks, and they did Guy from Rework, granted. And also Abandoned Monastery. And all those were really, really good for veteran players. Granted, I don't think they were balanced very well. And I think that's part of the caveat there is like, just because you're putting out a whole lot of quantity that is garbage for veteran players does not mean they have not released good like content for veteran players. It's just the quality of that content has been really trash.
Right. So Turos is like fun for a little while. You get your flame, you get out. And then you've got the side grade history thing. Right. So like there was a little bit there. To be fair, there was a little bit, but nothing to the scale and amazement that is Doom, which is so much fun and so interesting. And we don't have to kill ancient weapons in a cave. And so I just want them to earn it a little bit. We were having a conversation a couple weeks, maybe a month ago, about the eels fishing up the eels and how they took that from 3 to 2, and Potion asserted that, you made memories over that. I don't necessarily want to punish, like making the books easier is fine. They don't have to live the same pain that I lived, but you may have to earn getting to the high-end grind spots that are cool and fun and make a ton of money instead of it just getting handed to you. Because quite frankly, it already is. Well, if you play the game seriously for 3 to 6 months, you're going to be here.
I mean, I think that hearing that, I think they're going to reduce the bandit, income. I would expect that, right? I would expect that to reduce in income and reduce in difficulty. So
income all stays the same. Which is
they're not nerfing the income. They're just making it easier.
How much? How much is the bandit income then? Is it actually like really, really good?
I don't think it's really, really good. I think it's probably the worst or second worst spot at Hadoom, but it's probably still better than grinding outside of Hadoom. Like, I don't know, outside of Star's End with 340 mil distos, I think a lot of the other mid-late spots are kind of dead now. Like, I'm not sure if you ever really go to Akhman or Histria when you have bandits as a 250 option.
Yeah, and I'm actually okay with that, right? So I think the compromise there is bandits is 250. In maybe 320 DP or something. Like, you have to have that Stars in, DP to survive there. And then, they can all fucking karma bomb each other in that little, shithole or whatever. But having an option for them to experience the content early on, for 225, 250 275 mil per hour, but also giving veterans a reason. People that are doing monastery want to go there for the double drop rate. Cool. So when some idiot flags up on me, I'll one shot him. You know, I like that. That's a good solution to a weird problem.
Yeah, speaking of new things about Hadoom, we never really followed up on like the pricing of everything. Do you guys think like how's the income of different grind spots? How's the pricing of items? Do you think it's like too high, too low? Like what kind of balancing do they need to do? Because I doubt it was good on day one.
I think they're all kind of a little ridiculously overpowered, but
It's
too late now.
like literally grinding with a blue loot scroll and a decent clearing class is virtually like getting a disto every hour.
Yep.
It's pretty crazy.
Wow.
It's fun though for something that's so unfun. Like grinding's not fun. I don't care who you are. Grinding's not fun. So for something that's not fun, making it fun like that, and you know, getting some cracks per hours and stuff compared to what literally everybody's used to doing, I think it's okay. You know, like Moreland was saying earlier, now we have the silver in the market to actually like have pen accessories make sense.
Well, I mean, pin accessories are just going to go up in price. They're not going to make sense. That's all
I'm
it's
sorry,
for.
I didn't use the right terminology for you. That's what I meant.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I thought it was on their pages. My bad.
No, yeah.
Um,
So I think it's fine. You know, I think we were kind of a little green on what Hadoom was, and you know, it was only out for a couple of days last time we talked about it.
mhm.
So I think we just see it for the insanity that it is. And Castle Ruins, the last time we had a podcast, we were like, Castle Ruins is cracked. And yeah, it's a little cracked, but it's not nearly as crazy as Orcs is. So, you know, I would still do Castle Ruins over Orcs. I really would.
I'm kind of curious. What do you guys like? Do you see like them reworking old grind spots now to buff them up to Hadoom, or like what's
No.
Yeah, we're gonna get Calphian Hadoom for sure.
I do think we're gonna get Calthion Hadoom
We're
probably.
gonna get Hadoom fucking chimeras, and it's gonna fix again.
Yo, honestly, they're not gonna that's gonna be broken. I guarantee it. They're not gonna remember that.
We're gonna get Hadoom Rudums, Hadoom Catfish. It's gonna be a whole thing, dude.
Ooh,
Catfish would be really fun.
Hadoom Catfish.
I hope they update the graphics a little bit. I do think Hadoom's graphics right now look a little blah.
You've got to be the only person in the world that thinks that.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm surprised Moros didn't say pirates.
Pirates? Well, that was part of Medea. That was Medea part 2.
That'll come with Hadoom Medea. Yeah, that'll be next.
That'd be like a 300 AP grind spot. Maybe they'll actually fix the pirate coins where you actually can use them when you're tagged to somebody.
Ooh, super coins.
Yeah, absolutely.
Super coins.
Just in time for the trading rework in 3 years.
Yeah, I do feel like they have so many irons in the fire right now that as players, we get told about them all at the same time, but their delivery time is so far off, it makes it frustrating because we don't know if that delivery time is going to be 3 years or never, or if it's going to be like a month from now. You know? And I do feel like that needs some clarity. The more I think about that and the more we keep bringing up like different topics, the more it feels like that. Like the trading rework is a perfect example of like something that they said twice now and will probably either never happen or happen so many years from now that we'll just be mad about it.
I don't know. When stuff happens, we're never like mad about it. I don't know if that's right. But we're just kind of happy it finally actually happens.
Like Odalita, like Dregan is an example. We were mad about Dregan because it was just
when other people haven't, we don't have it, like Manos and shit.
Yep, Manos is a good example. I think the new Node Wars being teased for like literally over a year now.
Dude, I'm so ready for that, man. Are you ready for that, Moreland?
I think the anger is more placed in the fact that another iteration of the game right across the pond has had a content for months, but they haven't translated to us yet. That's when the anger takes over.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense. I think that's true.
Ready for new Node Wars, Marlon?
I think so. Do we know anything about T1s if they're still going to have these ridiculous HP mechanics on the new system?
I think so. I don't think they're changing how that works or how any of those mechanics work. Are you having a tough time with the HP mechanic?
I just hate it, dude. I don't know what. Like the first half of the war is so much different than the second half of the war. And by the time you get down to 3.5k HP, it feels awful. Like time to kill feels great at the start of the war, and then it's like, oh, I spawned and there's a ninja and I'm dead now, and there's nothing. Like I don't know. I don't know why you would have a different amount of HP at the end of the war. It's such a bad. It's not even a good sudden death mechanic because it doesn't even make you win faster. It just makes you like everyone spends more time dead, and if anything, it drags the war on even further.
Yeah. The core of the issue is that it's like you should get punished for doing something bad. You shouldn't get punished for playing the game. And for playing the game longer in a node war, you get punished by having less HP. Where in every other game, the longer you play, the more stats you get. And
It's not everybody gets the same thing. It's mechanic.
It's just silly though. It's the same thing like the it's a silly mechanic up and down. I could see there being an HP cap that's permanent from start to finish.
Yeah, there is an HP cap.
Yeah, I could see that, and I think that's fine. But the reduced in it, it's the same thing with Arsha. Like the Arsha arena, the Arsha arena has the same problem. After your fight goes on, it caps you at 50%, then caps you at like or 75, 50, and 25, whatever.
I don't know. Yeah, that is literally a sudden death mechanic though. Like that is so that you end the fight and win. In war, it doesn't work that way because you don't win the war by killing someone. You win the war by destroying the objective. And so when everyone on both sides is dying twice as fast, it actually can make it harder to win the objective because like everyone's just on the respawn screen for the whole fucking war on both sides.
I would actually say that the fact that monster damage is real AP is probably more egregious in T1s than the weird ass HP mechanic.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of problems still with the way that stats are implemented. I mean, I don't know why this game doesn't just have like a stat sheet that tells you like what your effective AP and accuracy and evasion and what all these things like actually are. I don't know why we have tooltips that lie to you, that give you false accuracy numbers and false DP numbers. Like, right. Again, it's such low hanging fruit. It's like, well, it's like Taco Bell giving you the order to the guy behind you. It's like, just don't do that. Just do the fucking order right. It's not that hard. You do this for a living every single day.
I will say that I do think that they are addressing that long term, right? That's what they said they were looking at fixing long term. So
what?
Yeah, they said with the when they caught the Black Star changes that they were upset with that they were like they couldn't believe they had made that mistake with the critical crit damage.
Can't believe we got.
But and then
the crit damage. Yeah, but that's not even the problem. Right now, you can mouse over your accuracy on your character sheet. And it's nowhere close to accurate. It doesn't look at your crystals. It doesn't look at your base accuracy. Sure. It doesn't look at anything except the shown accuracy on your gear, which is like the easiest part to tally. It doesn't show you your food, your consumes, like your Villa buffs. The DP on Villa buffs doesn't even work, which would probably be obvious if you had a DP stat that was updated based on your actual character's stats in the game.
Well, and I think that's what I'm kind of waiting for right now. Is I'm waiting for them to do the real stats on your gear change whenever that happens, like a year from now. And when that goes,
that'll never happen.
I mean, if they because they said they want to do it. They said they want to do it long term. And if they say they're not going to do it long term, then they just keep on saying keep doing it. And when that goes through, or if that goes through, then I think we can judge that more accurately, like what they should and shouldn't do. Because like right now they've said they have the intention of changing it, and all we can do right now is kind of wait and remind them that they said they were going to do it.
Yeah, I'll remind them. Don't worry.
Yeah, because I mean, I think we're all on the same page that it's frustrating not to have all your accuracy like added up on your sheet, and like why you don't see monster damage there, why your evasion and DR is the same stat.
Same thing, dude. Like fixing items so that their stats do what they say they do is not the same problem as giving players the information about what their actual stats are. Those aren't the same problem. I don't think they're even remotely addressing the problem of the fact that you literally have to use a third-party tool to even begin to understand what your character stats are. You have to go to BDO Planner if you want to have any idea what your actual accuracy and evasion and everything else is. There's no fucking way you would ever figure that shit out in game if it wasn't for third-party tools and big and shiny doing thousands of hours of research for you.
So WTF Blues in my chat, and he's saying that even Elion has like their databases talk to each other, like the the Cacao Games game that came out. That's like BDO-esque. Like they've even got that figured out.
Yeah, I mean, maybe that's so. What you're saying is like when you press the I and you see your stats in there, or you press P, you want those like you want to see like AP, Awakening AP, Monster AP, Accuracy, Evasion, DR, this and like total HP,
Yeah,
all
just
listed there.
tell me what my effective PvP AP is. Underneath that, tell me what my effective PV like monster AP is, right? Instead of showing this weird like 295 that doesn't actually tell me anything, I have to go and look at 5 other things to figure out what that 295 actually means, and it applies differently in different places to different targets. Like, where's my species damage? How much does that count for? There's so many things that are just you literally don't know what they do at all, except for the fact that basically like 1 or 2 players are out there researching it for you and publishing it in these like complicated spreadsheets.
Yeah, I agree. They should definitely put all that stuff there in an easy way for my because like as a new player, it's a huge hurdle to entry, right? To figure out how like all your stats are working together in PvP, and wondering why you're weak and why someone else is strong. You're like, well, my gear looks the same. Why isn't it working the same?
And it's not hard. It's not challenging at all for my accuracy tooltip to update when I eat a food or put a crystal in my gear. Like that's just not a challenging problem to solve. They could solve that in 5 minutes, and they haven't for years.
Yep, that would be a huge quality of life that they could add to the game for new players and veteran players. Just having all your stats actually be listed either in the P menu or in your I menu when opening it up.
I want to know what Curve's biggest gripe about this game is.
Tamer.
PvE imbalance.
Really?
Yeah, because I mean, it's the easiest fix. Just raise characters' damage by 3% until they're all at some kind of baseline within 10 or 20% effectiveness of each other. Like it's such an easy fix.
Because you were playing Tamer for so long and like couldn't grind. Like that's the thing that's been driving at you.
I mean, 99% of the time
Yeah.
we spend in the game is going to be making money, right? Like obviously Siege and stuff is important because it's like the end game. But if we play 60 hours a week, 50 of those hours are going to be grinding, right?
Yep.
So you don't think having the tag system is kind of like a workaround of like just tag a guardian or
I mean, it kind of just depends on how you look at it, right? Or like, how could you call yourself a main of X class if all of your grinding or time spent is on another class, right? Like, I don't know. It's just kind of weird that like PvE balance is so stagnant. Like, I'm kind of whatever on it now since I've like finally re-rolled off that class after 5 years. But like,
congratulations!
It is kind of like crazy how it's still so imbalanced.
Yeah, I would. I honestly, my biggest gripe is PvP.
Really?
Yeah, I used to love PvP in BDO. I used to be a member of a siege guild that owned Caltheon, and I used to do like GVGs all the time. And
well, Aftershocks owned every single territory, so
I used to enjoy like open world PvP at like Sawsons. That's probably like the thing I missed the most is open world PvP that felt fair and like enjoyable. And like I don't know, I think that like open world PvP would turn into GVGs, and then GVGs would turn into node rivalries, and I kind of miss all that a little bit. And I don't know if they just changed it all back to what it would be. I don't think that would be a perfect solution. The game's a lot different than it was back then, but I do miss that a lot, and I wish they would at least spend a little bit more time on the PvP side of things. I mean, I think the low-hanging fruit is like what Kerr said. Like, it's the easiest thing in the game to do. The one thing I think they could do would be the either grind spot balance or class balance, since what you spend the majority of your time doing, or life skilling. Like, all of those are very, very, very easy to balance and change and make sure the income is similar.
Okay, so I'm fairly certain I'm going to regret asking this, but you say you missed all that stuff. Do you have an idea of like what would it take to get Potion Shop back into the PvP scene? What, like, there's all the stuff we've been talking about. Does any of that pique your interest or sound like a viable solution or anything like that, or do you think it's just gone and dead?
For me, the main thing for me is it's either time to kill and healing has to be fixed, or CC's super armor slow stacking RNG CC has to be fixed. Those it'd be one of those two groups need to be entirely fixed, and then that would make PvP good enough for me to start enjoying it again.
That's pretty much everything.
Well, I mean, you could keep the current kill time and the current healing, but fix the CC system, or you could fix the damage and the healing and leave the current CC system. Either one of those would be like a huge step in the right direction. But yeah,
slow stacking seems like a obvious one. I think pretty much everyone universally agrees that like that's something that could be just capped or
bad,
done away with.
Even how slows work in this game are bad.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe if like slows had some interaction with the CC cap or something. I don't know. But
well, now the meta is kind of vacuum, right? We're getting all these vacuums coming into the game, and those
those things. Oh my god, those are not fun to play, especially in large scale when you're already rubber banding around. It is not fun to deal with those vacuums.
That's the new T1. It's probably Siege and stuff too, but that's definitely like the new T1 suck Zerk 200%, you know?
Yeah, one thing that I wish they would, I think slow stacking, you have diminishing returns. So if you get the first one gets applied at 100%, the second one gets applied at like 50%, then you get 25%, then 12%, 12.5%, then so on and so forth. So you have diminishing returns and slows. And then rebounce them accordingly. And then once you've had a slow put on you, it counts towards your CC cap. And then readjust CC caps appropriately for that. Maybe make it count as like a half a CC or something like that. So you could do like an extra half CC.
Every time I watch console, all they ever do to each other is just like they're all at like 80% slows. Like the meta over there is so heavy for slow stacking. It's actually hard to watch.
Everybody's over there like, just I'm going to get you.
It's weird. And it used to be at 2 frames per second, so it was double funny.
Well, you, Tim, since we've had a lot of us talk about what we don't like, what's the biggest thing for you that you want them to work on, fix, your biggest gripe?
I'd still Siege, right? So until Siege mercs are capped in any way, shape, or form, which I know it's coming, but I have to answer that as the number one. But outside of that, it's kind of expanding the game into what other MMOs, like the expectation of like arenas and open world, objectives and stuff like that. I'm also interested to see the moderation of the game. I've been called a gamer word twice since we've been doing this podcast in RBF, and so I'd like to see a little stricter moderation in this game overall. I think it's extremely lax, So with the new publishing team that we have, I'd love to see that. So node war system revamp is going to be great, along with the Siege thing. I think that's going to be great. And then if we really do get this queuable PvP, that'll be a step in the right direction. And then, a little tighter twist on the nips with the moderation would be an excellent thing too.
Tim, do you think
that's
you get
so
banned?
Ironic with Tim, with you asking for people to like be policed for what they say?
No, I'm toxic, but I'm not like ruining people's lives or anything unless they hit me first. But like, I'm not out here just calling people gamer words and shit. I'm not just being a total piece of shit like so many people in this community are. Like if you don't like the way I speak to you or what I'm doing, like when I scream at Moreland's, like that's enough. All right, I'm done. Like I'll do my thing. I've got my shtick, and if it gets annoying, then I'll stop. That's it. But most people in this game just don't know when to fucking stop, and they need to be treated like the 12-year-olds that they act like. Like they go to school just so that they can say a new bad word they heard their moms say in the fight with their parents, in the bathroom. It's just fucking stupid. Like I've never seen a game with this bad of policing. It's just the basic human rights kind of thing. Like
as far as we're aware, they can't do chat bans. So I feel like they should develop that technology to do chat bans and then like quadruple down on like punishing people. And if they won't shut up, then you just get permaban in chat. So you just can't talk in the game anymore.
Do you guys remember the Cacao days when people got banned for talking about World War II?
You bring that up often, and I don't remember that.
It always comes to mind when they talk about it. Or yeah, like I remember that. I don't think they ever like enforced that, did they? Though it was like a rule that they said, and people put it up on Reddit as one of the rules. You can't talk about stuff.
No, people got taken out for it. There was a general chat discussion about World War II, and everyone who participated was yeeted for like 48 hours or something.
Then there was that
Really?
crazy thing where the guy was like tried to like. I remember you talked about it a long time ago. More the guy that tried to justify role playing as a school shooter or something in like server chat,
Yeah.
and he made like a big YouTube video about it.
I went through
one of the
an
weirdest
arc.
videos I've ever seen.
He targeted me after the quadrillion thing, and I went through an arc of making fun of him a little bit. You should check out his YouTube channel and get like really deep into his videos. Yeah, no, do it. Do it.
I feel like that might be dangerous for my mental health.
See how many push-ups you can do.
Probably not the kind of person you want to give more attention to.
Yeah, do it privately, not publicly.
So like, I do think there's actually a real chance of them like doing better on moderation. Because I mean, part of their taking over from Cacao Games was to save money, so they probably have less people working than more, I'd guess.
I mean, they have a LA office. I would think if they just hire a few people to go there and like read reports, it shouldn't be that hard. There's obviously going to be like a transition period where maybe they have to hire more people and get them like caught up and trained. I don't know how much of that they did ahead of time, but yeah, I mean, it shouldn't be that hard. Like there was a guy running around in T1 Wars the other day with like an extremely blatantly racist name on a character that he was openly using in large scale, and it's kind of like,
I saw that.
I'm pretty surprised that nobody's like that he's able to do that, and that his guildies are okay with it, and like he's just here using that name in a fight with 500 other people.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you can't really hold the guild responsible for it though, because you could just do a name change after.
Absolutely can. When I ran Aftershock, we had somebody's name was something like haha you got AIDS or something fucking terrible, and we made him change his name. It's like, if you want to be in this guild, you need to change your fucking name. And then the next week came by, he didn't change it, so we kicked him.
The thing is, I'm saying is like, you could buy a name change coupon after you've been invited, and then you get the guild leader could get held responsible for the guild member who changed their name after they joined the guild.
Dude, I'm talking about a T1 war that lasted an hour and a half where this guy's running around the entire time. You're telling me that the guild master and the other members wouldn't notice that shit?
I mean, I've been a guild leader and I don't know everybody's character names. I don't look at them all.
That's very silly. I mean, I'm not saying the guild master should be like banned for it, but I do think that like if a guild is going to allow that kind of shit and not do anything about it, like clearly that should reflect poorly on them. It's absolutely not hard to notice the extraordinarily racist name of the guy who's next to you every day at war.
What would it be a proper punishment then? Not letting people to join the guild for a week or a month or something?
You send
if I was the leader of that guild, I would just not play with that person. Why do you want that person in your community? Just like tell them to fuck off.
No, I'm saying, how should the guild leader get punished? If you want to hold them accountable, how would they get punished?
I'm not saying punish the guild leader. I'm saying punish the person, but the guild leader shouldn't be doing that. Like, it's shocking to me that you would be in charge of a guild and you would allow that. I mean,
right.
I don't know.
I don't know. I feel like it's
12. I don't know, dude.
I guess my point is, I'm not defending the person with the bad name. But I don't know how we can assume that the guild leader was aware of this. Like, the guy could have had a name change and it just went through.
If you're in the war, let's say the guild leader was in the war for an hour and a half and saw the egregiously racist name.
I have my name
and
turned
had
off.
his monitor on.
I have my name turned off.
If you PvP, you don't. Okay, so if Potion Shop, who plays an alt never looks.
I just don't think. Anyway, I think the name, obviously, racist names shouldn't be allowed. But holding a guild, we cannot know 100% sure the guild leader is aware of the situation.
There is a possibility that all 100 people in the guild have names turned off and chat turned off. I think it's unlikely, though. I think that situation is unlikely.
the thing is, we can't know 100% chance, and so since you can't know, I don't think it's fair to judge the guild leader and hold the guild leader responsible. They tried doing this before to like guilds that had cheaters in the guild. They were like, we're going to ban guild leaders that had cheaters in the guilds. And they reverted that because there's no way they can know.
Cheating. You can't hide a blatantly racist name that everyone in the guild sees every fucking day.
You have no idea how much mileage I'm gonna get out of using this logic against you in some of your future arguments.
Because
you are so fucked.
No, it's not that fucked of a situation. Because think about it, the guy could literally make a brand new character, right? Level it up that day, and it's never log on to the character. And then he logs in for the first time with a tagged character, and you just start play on it. There's no way you would know about that. Then it could be the very first time, and you're in Node Wars trying to do shot calling, and then I just don't see. I don't see how you can be 100% confident that the guild leader would be aware.
I don't know, dude. I think shitty people are shitty people, and like if someone's gonna name themselves Ninja Killer 69, like. And you get where I'm going with that. Yeah. I think like there has to have been that they've shown they're a shitty person in the past. Like I don't think people just you wouldn't randomly go make a character like that, right? But I get where you both are coming from, but
yeah, and I think it's on the individuals of the guild if they aren't happy with the either racism or sexism or whatever the case is, that's in the guild. That's on you to leave that guild. I don't think it's on the guild leader to get held responsible like Cacao Games or Pearlbis or whatever the case is. It's just not. That's
you're the one that brought that up, and now you're saying that they shouldn't be. It's not. Can we move on?
Yeah, we move on.
I just want to see tighter moderation. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah, I think the moderation. I think
the guy who's got the N-word in his name or some play on it needs to get fucking banned. Why is that such a fucking conversation in this game?
I agree with that. I think that's fine. I'm not talking about that. I agree that the racist name person should be banned in the game. My point is the guild leader thing. That was all I was talking about. Anyway, we can move on to this other topic.
Warning. Can we issue them a warning?
Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up.
If you have 20 different people in your guild with N-word names, maybe on the 20th time, then the guild master gets banned.
I'm going to vomit on stream and you're all getting banned.
It's going to be a case-by-case scenario, I think, right? So like it just depends on the severity and the how blatant it is on a case-by-case basis.
What would be your N-word limit in your guild? Like how many N-words before you think the leadership should be held accountable?
Kerr, how is it sitting in a podcast with a bunch of white guys talking about their opinion about racist terms?
Like a fly in a bowl of milk, bro.
I guess let's go on. Moro.
Yeah, we should definitely move on.
Let's what would you like changed in the game? And don't go back to the last topic as a joke.
I think you already asked him.
You saw that one coming, didn't you?
I know. I saw you. I know. I thought of it for once.
Life skills, dude. Life skills blow right now. This game is so boring. All I can do is grind, buff fishing, buff gathering, buff alchemy. Everyone remember alchemy?
Bro, is that a life skill?
Farms?
Wait, that's a life skill still in BDO?
I remember subbing to Blade Bowquest because he had alchemy on lock, and I was so impressed with that.
Dude, that used to be my thing. I figured out life skills. Now I'm like, I can't be fucked to figure out how to make 250 mil when Hadoom is 350 plus.
I think that for that, this uncapped Caphras. Uncapped Caphras release the next Fallen God, and this life skilling explodes in profitability. It wouldn't be perfect, but that would be a step.
There's a bunch of stuff they need to do. Autos farming needs to be added. If they're going to do this hybrid life skill thing, they need to fucking actually, do it instead of announcing it a year ago and then hoping that we all forget. I don't even really know where to start. There's so many things that they need to do with life skills. They just haven't touched them, like they've been focusing on grinding and the new items and new expansions, and life skills just completely been left behind. This whole the hunting and Odalita thing completely botched. The sniping mechanic, we talk again. It's like they didn't do the last 5%. The sniper hunting is actually kind of sick. They just need to like clean up it and make the input less clunky. But it's actually could be a super good mini game if it was rewarding and if the input was just a little bit more polished. But again, they add it. 2 years go by, absolutely nothing.
It's so close to being like I can't. It's almost as good as an FPS game. It's so close. Like one or two basic FPS functions that you'd have. Like right now, when you shoot a bullet, it takes you out of your scope and puts you back in your scope after you reload, which is the most disorienting thing in the entire world. Like just some basic changes like that would honestly make that so good.
Lacchiaro? Why doesn't Gathering Mastery buff your Lacchiaro chances? Bro, it's so easy.
Didn't you have a promise from the lead developer?
To be fair, when you started talking,
told me to my face. He wrote it down on his phone, I think.
How can we trust anything? How can we trust anything from these people now?
It's true. I want my fucking Lacchiaro buff, dude.
I'm with you, man. I want to see you dig deep with those hoes.
When you talked about Lacchiaro over a year ago, I was kind of on the fence about him getting buffed. But now that a year has gone by and so much has changed in the game, I'm totally on board with him doubling Lacchiaro income.
You were on the fence about some Minesweeper 100 mil an hour bullshit that gave mostly hards and sharps?
Listen, it's 150 mil at maximum, and they double the income. It's going to be 300 mil an hour. But now we have Hadum as 350, so I can grind. I don't have to worry about it.
How many stage 5s do you find in a month?
I don't want to. I don't want to.
People in this game could pull 150 mil an hour in Lacchiaros. That is generous.
Listen, I have the time to make it happen. I could practice it.
If you can make 150 mil an hour consistently in Lacchiaro for any like 10-hour period, I will give you $100.
That's not worth it. I think that's possible to do. I do think it's possible to do, but the thing is, I don't want that to be like something that I felt mandatory for players to do as income. It should be an optional activity.
Nice dodge, potion shop.
Hey, I've been practicing.
What should be mandatory? Grinding?
I think general life skilling, like I think cooking, alchemy, gathering, hunting, fishing, like active fishing, that is. I think all of those should be on the same income bracket as grinding. And so then as a player, you get to choose of those what you want to do actively with your time.
Nice dodge, potion shop.
Like I said, been practicing.
Remember once upon a time when you could meaningfully choose between life skilling and grinding?
Me sleeping with Jennifer Love Hewitt is also, quote, possible.
I know who that is. Who is that?
It's a female.
Oh.
I think she was famous in the 90s.
Yeah.
Oh. That's
one of those white girls with 3 names.
How's she looking?
Was she the Sex in the City?
21?
Was she the Sex in the City one, or was that a different one?
No, it's Sarah Jessica Parker.
There it is.
Yeah. Easy to get those mixed up.
I get them all mixed up with Meg Ryan.
That's only 2 names.
I know. Isn't that weird?
Kate Beckinsale?
Are we done?
Life skilling. I don't have anything else. Oh yeah, they. I have to tell this because I told Tim that they were definitely gonna come out with the alpha, and for Ashes of Creation, and it's gonna come out, but it's been delayed.
It's definitely gonna come out.
Delayed. Yeah, it's definitely gonna come out.
Do you give me $20 now? How did we structure that bet?
Well, we structured it. If it ever comes out, I get $20. If it ever comes out, and if it ever comes out in full release, then I get whatever the rest was, which I completely forgot
80.
now. Yeah.
80.
If it ever actually has a full release, then I get the other 80.
I think it'd be fair to knock $10 off the bet every time they delay any part of it.
Oh, bro, it's going to be delayed so many times. I would not get any of it.
$1 every time they delay it. $1 off.
What's in it for me agreeing to this? We already have our terms.
It will make it more interesting. I give you money for your fucking infinite streams and your goddamn music and all that shit. Let me have this. Fuck, dude.
All right. $1 off every time they delay it.
So retroactive. So it's 19 and 79 because it was delayed.
Tim's got to save some money. He still owes me like $8 from the store.
Oh, yeah.
It was the warm up round.
Heroes of the Storm, huh? Is there going to be a round 2 then? Of
It was
Heroes of the
already
Storm?
around too.
No,
Yeah.
no more money games.
Yeah, I can't afford them. I've been playing a lot more Heroes of the Storm though. All the free heroes thing is gone though, or is going to be gone in the next couple days. So that'll make it much less fun. But I think this week we're doing Among Us, right? Tomorrow?
Yeah, I totally forgot about that. We should try to do that tomorrow.
Yeah, let's do Among Us tomorrow.
Coming out, actually, speaking of other games, those devs finally got off their Coke binge from all their millions that they made overnight out of nowhere and actually put out an update. I think it's the end of March. There's a new map.
31st.
Are they charging for it? Is it free?
I think it's free. I mean, even if it's $5, who cares? Like, game is so fucking cheap.
Yeah, it's true. I hope they charge for it. That way they can get millions more dollars, and then they can develop another map. If that's what it takes, I just want them to make the money, man.
Oh my god!
Hire a fourth person for their dev team.
Yeah, exactly. They'll hire an intern. They'll force to do all the work while they're doing their drugs.
That's what I would do.
Is there any other games that are coming out this week, or like any other gaming news?
Doom Eternal has the second part of Ancient Gods came out. I think it might have been last week, actually. So I'm looking for a chance to play that. Although now that I'm in Darkest Dungeon, I don't know when that's going to happen. But that shit's always fun. I love they did a really good job with the last DLC. Except for the ending. The last boss was kind of underwhelming.
Hold up. Did Tim ever think of a game that compared to Hollow Knight when he called it generic?
Nope.
Ori. Yeah, he compared it to Ori. That's why it was generic, because it was...
There was another game too.
Ah.
It was months ago.
I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I was paying attention to. I know that Intel has been making some big moves for CPUs, so maybe AMD will have some competition from Intel.
Thank God. I'm so tired of seeing my loved ones, friends, and families getting stuck in this trap of buying AMD trash. Because for the first time in 20 years, Intel stumbled.
They got I think it's a new CEO and a new secondary CEO or CMO or whatever it's called. I forgot. They hired the Apple dude, the Apple guy.
It's called the SEMA.
Yeah, they hired the guy who's like the face of Apple, and he's now working for Intel. I'm trying to think what else they did. They did some other like really cool stuff. They hired like one of the old lead techs that made some of the old greatest personal PC CPUs in recent history. So they've done a lot of things in the last couple of months to really set up the company, and I'm sure it'll take a year for them to get all their shit straightened out. But
this 5900 XT is actually pretty fucking good. On BDO, I noticed a massive upgrade. I did not notice any improvement whatsoever using their new video card, though. The new AMD video card was liquid garbage. $1,800 paperweight.
That's been like the thing that's keeping me from upgrading. Like, because for one, everything is expensive as fuck. But then two, it's like, what if you upgrade and then you feel no performance increase for BDO?
You just resell it. The demand is so high. There's really not much risk. Like, you can sell it for more than you bought it for if you can actually get one. Yeah, it was still very disappointing that the fucking whatever I bought, the 6900 blah 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 was worse than the 2070 like last generation NVIDIA card.
So if they hired the Apple guy, does that mean if you buy a Intel processor after 2 years and there's a new one out, that your Intel processor is going to go to shit? It's going to be the new marketing strategy at Intel.
I don't know. We'll have to see. I mean, it looks hopeful at least. I think it's been a mess for the last couple of years at Intel. And I don't know. It's just, but I think they just got complacent, and then they didn't know what to do after they got complacent.
No, it wasn't complacency. It was their smaller technology got fucked. They botched it. They just had bad R&D on that, man.
Aren't Aren't they mainly like a server-based company though? Intel, like their personal PC is like ant size compared, even though it's like famous.
Off the top of my head, I do not know the share of their business between business and consumer.
I guess that's fair. It's what's a strange
Yeah,
question.
a little more prepared. I apologize.
You know, as long as you're a little better next week, I guess we'll be fine. All right. No, that's a silly question. I can't think of anything else. That's about it.
I'm playing a lot of Star Wars Galaxies. 7 weeks left until I can be a Jedi, by the way. So
7 weeks, huh?
7 weeks left. And I set up, I'm starting a life skilling empire. That's going to be fucking amazing.
I think the thing is so cool about the Jedi in that is like it genuinely takes forever to make it happen, and so it's an actual achievement in the game. Unlike 66 and BDO nowadays, where you don't know if someone AFK'd it or not.
There's a 1v1 arena to see like who the best Jedi is. And so you know how there's like guardians and council members and dark Jedi masters in the movies and stuff. Like you actually have to 1v1 each other to get those titles. And then you can wear better armor and robes and use better lightsabers and all that kind of stuff. And there's a ton of politics that goes into that whole thing. So there's like this, and the challenges happen every 20 and a half hours. Or it's 30 and a half hours, something like that, to where like sometimes you have to wake up at 4 a.m. to defend your rank and stuff like that. So there's a bunch of cool mechanics about it. I don't think I'm ever going to quit playing that game since I got back into it. I'm just always going to be working my hustle there.
I'm thinking about getting into another new UO server.
Yeah?
Yeah, one of my friends been messaging me about it. I missed the launch. It was apparently like a month ago it launched, but it's still fresh enough that I might have to get into it. It's got some interesting new rules. They're kind of like mixing different eras of the game in an interesting way. It's kind of enticing. I'm worried that I'll play it for like 80 hours a week though if I get into it.
Where'd Moreland go? Well, guys, skip the podcast this week. Got to play some UO Ultimate Online.
A lot of those, I played a couple UO private servers with like different rule sets and stuff, and I think it's way better than the original game. I think there's a lot of fun in there.
Yeah, the private server community, I mean, those guys have been working that shit out for so many years. Like they know exactly what works and what doesn't work. They've given the game the expansions that it should have had in retail on the private servers. It's really crazy what they've done.
Agreed.
What are some things that I've never played UO or what are some of the things that it does better than our games? And I like there's generic answers, but I'm like looking for like something that's like tangible that I could compare to BDO.
That's a good question. Actually,
you really can't compare it to BDO in any way. It's the UO is on such a deeper level of like emergent behavior and consequences to your actions that most people who play like the current era of MMOs, you can't really even give them a concept for it. It's like in a different dimension, dude. Like everything you do in UO is it's not predictable in a way that other games are. Like even other sandbox PvP games, we were talking about this in Discord the other day. You play a game like Albion, and I think Albion's a good game. I think that it's probably one of the best MMOs in the market right now. But your interactions with other players in that game are 100% predictable. If they're in another guild and you see them in the black zone, you kill them and you take their stuff. And like that's cool. That's a fun like sandboxy thing to play. But in Ultima Online has all these like additional layers of like meaning and consequence to your interactions with other players. When you encounter another player in Ultima Online, you don't know if they're friend or enemy. You don't know if they're worth fighting or if you should befriend them. Like you don't know who they might be friends with or what they might be carrying or like how skilled of a player they might be. There's all these different things that go into it. And you end up making like these random friends that like some of those guys I still play, like HOTS and shit with like years and years later, like whenever there's a new MMO, like we're still hanging out. And like all those friendships for the most part that I've made in gaming over the years, they all come from Ultima Online to like a much bigger degree than any other MMO I've ever played. Like the example I was given in Discord the other day is like mining in that game. You'd have people that would be out in the world mining ore. And since ore was very valuable, they'd be targeted by player killers. So you had this whole community of miners who would like try to figure out different parts in the game that would be safe to mine. You had another community of like evil players who were out hunting them, and then you had the third category of like good anti-player killers that would go out and protect the miners. And then like you'd find a miner, you'd protect him from PKs. He would be thankful and like, give you some ore or like some gold or something as a reward. You might make a friend. You might find out that he's like one of the best crafters on the server, and he might give you like some sick gear. Like there's just, it's hard to even summarize like the absolute potential that goes into like everything that happens in that game. It's got the open world housing. Like, I mean, there's just so much stuff to like do and accomplish, and so many different ways that your interactions can play out. And it's so unpredictable. Like even just going on a dungeon run, you don't know who's going to show up. You don't know if the guy next to you is going to try to like kill you when your health gets low, or maybe he's carrying something that you won. Maybe you want to take the consequences of killing another player and snipe him when he's low. Like, I don't know, man. It's hard to even begin to describe the depth that went into every interaction in that game.
So I guess on a very, very basic level for BDO, it'd be like flagging up, and then you kill somebody, and then one guy might be in a ghillie, right? And then the guy you killed was in Snake, and the next guy you do the same thing tomorrow, but it's some random noob player who doesn't have any affiliation with a big guild. And you don't have any repercussions for doing that.
There's no way to really compare it to BDO.
Yeah, it's really not possible to compare it to BDO, because BDO just doesn't have the same consequences for dying. It doesn't have the same consequences for like winning. Like you don't really get anything from killing someone or from being killed by someone in BDO. The objectives you're fighting over aren't really there. Like,
I'd submit that player cities and open world housing creates an atmosphere that is, you really can't replicate. Being able to just like seeing the same people, or like maybe your city has a certain faction that it aligns with or something like that, and being outside of just like Hydel, Calpheon, the NPC cities and stuff like that. I think that really creates an atmosphere and a livelihood to a game that you can't even really compare to other games that don't have it. And so I think that's what UO and SWG and a couple other games did really well, is kind of have that sense of real community where, if you break up with a guild, you're not going to play Among Us or any other games or Warzone with them. But when you're in a UO or SWG or, maybe even an old school World of Warcraft game where you're like really working together as a community for a very long time, that will happen. People come and go, and there's almost no guild or community identity for a large, for in most cases in BDO. And I think that's what it really drills down to, is everything's cheap in BDO in these new MMOs.
So you tell me you can customize a city?
Yeah, you could. UO, that was one of the like craziest things, that they were just years ahead of their time. You can build houses in that game all over the overworld. Like basically, if there's enough flat space with no rocks and trees to block your structure, then you can put a structure there, as long as it's not like in town or on a road. So players build entire cities. There are different subcultures in different parts of the game. Like certain guilds will congregate in certain NPC towns or certain player towns. Depending on like the server and the rule set, some of the cities can be protected or some of them can be dangerous. So you have things like stealing that you have to worry about when you're in town. Like if you just go AFK at a bank, people will come up and like look through your inventory and steal your shit when you're not paying attention. So like you have to be on guard in certain areas, or there might be certain areas where like there's not a lot of thieves and the people there, so you do feel safe. Like there's just so much shit that goes into it, man. Like that game, there's so much stuff that got left behind in that game that other MMOs have completely failed to like realize the potential of after the fact.
I think it's kind of crazy for the city being able to customize.
Well, Star Wars Galaxies is you put a city hall down, and then depending on how many people live there, depends on how big your city is. And then each individual, like you give somebody rights to put a house in your city area, but you can put a house anywhere on any of the planets. But then you can turn your city into an improved job market, so your missions are worth more. So you're bringing people in, and then you can make a big guild hall, have a bunch of vendors from a bunch of different people. So then you make malls. So there's like all this traffic. You can put a shuttle port, like fast travel at your city, and it has an improved job market, and it's got all these things, so people aren't just congregating necessarily there. You can also align with a faction, Imperial or Rebel, and so if you're Imperial and a Rebel bounty hunter comes up, they're trying to be incognito, you can ban them so they can't use your shuttle port or go in your homes or hide out anywhere, and you can shoo them away to protect your Jedi from losing all their XP and stuff like that, or go kill him yourself or whatever the case is. So like there's all these really cool community driven mechanics that happened between 1997 and 2005 that are just disappeared because there's like no way to monetize it, right? And so they're just gone.
I mean, I'm kind of curious why, if those games leave such a fond memory in people who did play them, extensively, why is that not transitioned, or why did those games not, like, why is there not an Ultimate 2 or an Ultimate 3 or an Ultimate reimagined or remastered or something?
So it's the problem of like consequence, right? The balance between risk and reward is the thing that's been failed to realize. Most games have seen the fact that World of Warcraft made way more money than UO did. And so what they do is they just make a theme park game and they try to copy World of Warcraft because that's where the money is. So the only people who are trying to copy the UO model are passion projects, right? They're like sandbox devs who played UO, who understand it, and they want to bring that back. But then you have all kinds of issues that go into that. You have lack of funding. You have like just straight up design flaws. Like, Darkfall was probably the biggest successor that we had to like the really dangerous emergent PvP game, but Darkfall had, similar to BDO, it was like there was really no downside to just like killing the other factions or like people that you didn't like, and so it just became like a huge team deathmatch. Like you wouldn't really talk to people or like wonder what was going to happen when you saw another player in the game. It was just like a big open world, kill box, kind of like Albion. And so. Yeah, I don't know. Every time there's going to be a game that looks like it's following in the footsteps of UO, it either doesn't get released, it falls apart, like on the business side of things, or they make some fatal mistake like Darkfall did, and they alienate, half of their player base.
New World.
New World was looking like it was going to be a sandbox where you could actually like interact with people, and we wouldn't know who was friend or foe, and then they were kind of like, fuck that, that's too hard. Let's just make it another WoW clone. So.
Well, SWG actually died because it's called the NGE patch, New Game Experience, where they changed the entire game because World of Warcraft was kicking their ass so much. SWG came out a little bit before World of Warcraft, and they changed it to be pick a class like WoW or any of the other fucking RPG Star Wars games. And it died within months of that coming out, maybe a year. And they pumped out content. They put a ton of money into it because they knew that the MMO market was prime. And so there's actually still emulation servers for the NGE, but I can't believe people play that. Like there's no redeeming quality to it whatsoever. But they do it. They play it.
It's kind of interesting. Like kind of like deep diving that. I've always kind of wondered why, because I always wanted an MMO that had good combat, because I played Halo. That was like my first like game I truly enjoyed, and it's left a huge mark on like what I liked. And I also like Super Smash Brothers. Those are like the two games I liked a lot. Both of them heavily PvP focused, obviously. And so I wanted a game that had like, in an MMO world, I wanted a game that had an action feeling like a Halo game or Super Smash Brothers, like a fighter game. And that's what I was always kind of looking for. And BDO was the first MMO that ever had action combat in it that I was aware of. And had decent graphics at the same time. That's what kind of drew me to the game. But yeah, I've always kind of wondered why people liked the old MMOs and what was the draw to them, and why people don't like the new MMOs and they did like the old MMOs.
I think it's actually pretty obvious why old MMOs were better, and it's because there wasn't anything to copy yet. So the first couple years of MMOs, it was all invention, it was all innovation, it was all creativity and imagination and possibility. And then once like the meta got established with WoW, ever since then, all people have done is basically just copy WoW and try to add new features to it, which is exactly what Ashes of Creation is doing.
I think the best iteration of that was Rift. I think one of the first, kind of WoW clones was probably one of the best. Rift was a fucking great game. When you look at like WoW clones, I don't know anybody else that's really done a WoW clone better than Rift.
The same guy
And
who made
since then,
the same guy
like
who
even
made Rift,
Wildstar.
the same guy who made Rift is the guy who's making New World. He's it's like one of the same lead dudes. He originally worked on like WoW, one of the original WoW expansions, or maybe WoW Classic, and he went and made Rift after that. And then he's this guy who's being hired now for this new game. That's why they're doing the little like plague things, corruption that spawns in New World, because that's like his like
yeah, that does that does make sense. Yeah,
yeah, because he's just remaking Rift all over again with a.
But that's okay because it wasn't bad. There was even like a TV show that had an MMO that correlated with it that had kind of that Rift mentality. It was a good WoW clone.
Mm-hmm.
And so if he's not going to let that go, at least it's an open world PvP objective, right? So I'm good with that. But the old MMOs, they were buy the box, pay the subscription, buy the expansion. That was monetization. And so you asked a question that I answered literally right before you asked it, was those games won't exist because of monetization. I think, yes, WoW played a huge part in, wow, look how much money this game's making. Let's all do what they're doing and kind of put that away. But now like Korean games and all this kind of stuff is in cell phone games, and just the way you monetize the games that we love to play and grew up on is completely different. And I've been saying for well over 10 years, I think Star Wars Galaxies was ahead of its time, and I don't think there could ever possibly be another game like it. And that's why I'm never going to stop playing it and hope that they do a server wipe sometime soon.
I think there can be another game like it. I think it's going to be like a surprise, though. I think it's going to come out of nowhere, like Valheim. It's going to be a group of 5 or 10 people who like know what they're doing and care about what they're doing. I mean, we've had some close calls. Like, Legends of Aria was on the right track. They had technical issues, and they caved into like investor pressure in the last minute and kind of ruined the game. New World, again, like in its alpha, it was headed somewhere, but then same thing happened. Like someone higher up the chain was like, "Nah, fuck this, make this game into a theme park."
Right, that was Amazon. So I don't know if like Valheim can happen with an MMO. Like it takes so much money and
I don't think it does, dude. Like if you go look and see like who built Ultima Online, it was like 7 dudes that were just really good at coding, because coding was way harder back then, and like they just knew what they were doing, right? Like
so maybe in 5 to 10 years, but the meta right now is like roguelikes and Minecraft shit and Valheim, or party games like Among Us. Like those are the games that the 5 to 10 guys fresh out of college that stole their parents' money are doing. They're not like, let's make this great MMO in a 2004 to 1999 style.
Well, I mean, somebody will be like, I'm tired of WoW. I'm bored. I'm gonna make a game that's good. And there's gonna be tons of people who are gonna try doing that and fail. And eventually, one of those indie guys will come out with something that's halfway decent, and it'll kind of have a big success like Valheim.
If I had $5 million of fuck you money, I still wouldn't try to remake Star Wars Galaxy.
I just think the overall genre is kind of dying, if not like on life support. Like I think it's just like Morland said, where there's nobody trying to innovate, because like WoW is like, oh, it's proven. You just do this, make this theme park, make a Care Bear, people come spend money, and then go about your day.
That's the AAA. That's why I think Moreland's saying an indie company doing that is spot on, because some random dude will be like, hey, I think I want to make this. Maybe I can make $100,000 off it. I'll go and make an indie game that has a small MMO element to it, and it'll just be small, obviously, but it'll get the fire started in the right direction.
So you've got to find a group of people that are talented, passionate, have money, and are delusional and don't expect any sort of return.
I don't think they need that much money. I think you can kickstart it. There's been several little like indie MMOs that got successful funding through Kickstarter. They just failed for other reasons.
Yeah,
if you set a bad path,
like they're not going to make the next BDO with Kickstarter money, but you can make the next UO with Kickstarter money.
For sure.
Absolutely.
And like,
yeah, you're probably right though. Aria was probably really close, and then they just succumbed to their Reddit page or whatever.
if you look at like what's it called? If you look at like YouTube, like how to I made an MMO in 8 hours. And there's like all sorts of videos of people like downloading like
Really?
free assets on like MMO and it's obviously we're just talking like basic movement, 2 players running around and stuff like that. But like the coding is out there for you to go and acquire. Like you can literally go and get Unreal Engine 4 and then pay a percentage of your profits to them, and they'll support up to 100 players, and that's what Last Oasis did, and that can make a it won't make the best MMO in the world, but that's plenty good for an indie company to get started with, and kind of like pave the way for like the future of the genre. And I think the future of the MMO genre is probably in indie companies or Korean companies, one of the two.
I don't know what's really good about, and I think why we're seeing Project 99 and private UO servers and Star Wars Galaxies and all this kind of stuff is, yeah, there's that nostalgia hit. But these are all like sandbox games for the most part. I know EverQuest was a little bit more theme park based, but
I mean, EverQuest is like quintessentially theme park. EverQuest is the prequel to WoW. Like WoW is literally just a copy of EverQuest, then that dumbed it down.
But it was the people that played those games, right? It was the people and the interaction from those games, and going back to that and being part of that community. There's like this almost intangible thing where it's almost like, you can let yourself relax and just kind of have fun and enjoy something. And I just don't know if a new game could ever really have that. I don't know if these games, to put a cap on this, I just don't think these games could ever really be replicated. And it would be extremely difficult with any amount of success, regardless of the resources and assets that are available.
Well, I think
through funding and passion.
I think part of it is also the nostalgia, right? And so I think maybe for our generation that might be true for a lot of our generation, just because we have this nostalgia that's rose-tinted glasses, and that can never be lived up to in any modern game. But I think maybe the next generation can have a game that is as successful.
Yeah, but if you describe, right? So Moreland's fond of UO and I'm fond of SWG. If you describe the benefits and why we like these games without using those words, if I didn't say Star Wars and he didn't say Ultima Online, we just go, hey, there's this new MMO coming out that's this, and then we described what they had, you would be like, hook in the mouth, flopping on, dry. You'd be fucking crazy about it. And
another thing is just like
brings you in, but it doesn't keep you there.
Attention span has also got a lot lower too, right? Like people just want something they can hop in for 5 minutes and be on the same par with someone that's put in time.
Yeah,
right?
Well, that's what people think they want, but in reality, they don't enjoy those games.
Well, MOBAs are really successful for that reason.
I mean, you can do that in a game like UO, though. Like the gameplay loop on Outlands is basically 20 or 30 minutes long. You don't want to stay in a dungeon any longer than that anyways, because you're risking all your shit. Like you want to go back to town, bank it, and then make another run. So, I mean, I don't know if attention span is really the issue. Like there's plenty to do in various different quantities of time.
I don't disagree with attention span, though. Like, I mean, the new meta on YouTube is apparently 1 minute videos. Like, everything is just getting shorter and shorter.
Well, the reason they're doing this is because YouTube has 2 different algorithms now. They have one that's like a TikTok algorithm, and if you make a TikTok type video for YouTube, it goes into a different pool, and that pool has no competition right now because nobody's making videos like that. And then
didn't Family Guy made an episode where they're like
at the same time that TikTok is exploding, so is Joe Rogan, right? So like it goes both ways.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair.
I think they can definitely make another game like that. I think it's going to be an indie company though. I think it won't be a AAA game. It'll be like an indie game. It'll be like Last Oasis where we played. Like, this is great. I wish I'd do more with this, and then we'll have fun, and then we'll see what they do in the future. And I think it's gonna be like that for MMOs for probably the foreseeable future, or Korean games. Those are I think the two that I think.
I'd love to be surprised.
Yeah. Because, I mean, if it's been done before, it's possible to do it again, and it's easier to do it now than it was in the past. So there's no reason why another game company couldn't pick up today with having way better tools to use, way better computing, and put in like 1/5 the effort and make it happen.
How hard do you think it is to just like emulate BDO combat right? Like, surely if it was doable in any kind of reasonable capacity, you think it'd be done by now?
I think in a side scroller type game, pretty easy to do. I think in a top down like third person pixel art game, I think we've seen several examples of that happen already. I think in any game that
I
has
even think it has to be pixel art. If you take something like Lost Ark, I think you can make it look really good and still run well with a bunch of people because you don't like even if it's you're forced to
Well-
do like the isometric angle. I mean, that game looks fucking
what
amazing.
I'm thinking is what can an indie company do? Because an indie company can't make a 3D game. It's just not feasible for them to do without
I
having
think
a
an
big
indie
budget.
company could make Lost Ark.
Like you look at Valheim.
Pee-wee and indie game?
Valheim had to compromise graphics in a huge way in order to make it a 3D game. And they also had to compromise their vision for the game, only having a few bosses and a few regions, right? It doesn't have a whole lot of assets in there because that was their compromise. And so if you want a game that has as robust as an MMO and make a 3D game, you're going to need something that's going to be top down, sort of like what was the game, Hades? Like sort of like a Hades playstyle. Like I think a Hades playstyle MMO like that. I think an indie company could nail that very, very easily.
It's called Albion Online.
Albion Online is 3D.
Yeah, mine feels like playing Dota with 500 ping. Their combat, their combat is by far the worst part of Albion Online. Like, if everything about Albion is good except for the actual combat.
And I think that also that takes a lot of development. Like they have a fairly large team for indie teams. Like they're not a typical indie team. They're fairly large for indie size. So I think
all kickstarted. I think.
Yeah, I mean I think they've done pretty well for themselves for what they've had. I would expect if you want a game with good combat MMO, I think a Hades style graphics would probably be the path that we'll probably see in the future. Like Hades graphics
I don't think
and
Valheim
MMO.
looks that bad. Some people hate the way it looks, but I don't know. It really doesn't bother me.
It's definitely not like modern day graphics settings though.
What, Hades? I didn't like its art style.
You didn't like the art style in Hades?
Hades
I didn't.
solid,
Bro,
John.
art style is one of the best things about it.
Tim, you have such wrong opinions, dude. Like,
It's not wrong. I
It's
didn't
just-
like
it's
the
just
art
personal-
style.
Yeah, it's just a personal opinion. It's just he has
No, it's
very,
wrong.
very unique opinions on
It's
some things like
objectively
that.
wrong.
Incorrect. That is an incorrect opinion.
You need an emote that says objectively wrong.
No, like I get that. Like for me, like Hades is not a game that I look at art style. I'm like, I want to play that. But BDO, look at BDO's art style. I'm like, yeah, that looks like a game I would play. Or I look at Diablo. I'm like, yeah, I like the art style. Or Path Exile. Those are games that aesthetically appeal. Even though Path Exile has a long way to go, it is in the direction that I like. It has like a realism to it, you know.
When I play Star Wars Galaxies on my female character, sometimes she gets a beard. That's my art style.
I think that explains everything about why you don't like Hades graphics.
Yeah, the girls don't get beards randomly. I can't get behind it. If you know what I mean.
You have to play long enough to unlock the musician.
Are we done? It's been like 3 hours.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't have anything else.
All right. That was episode 37 and probably a little bit of 38. Thank you guys for listening. Before we head out, let's just take a quick round to everybody and see what's going on their Twitch or YouTube channels this week, starting with our very special guest, Kerr. Thanks for enduring us.
Ah, yeah, dude. It got a little dicey in the middle there. We were talking about the fly in the bowl of milk, but yeah, but I don't know. Hopefully gonna be doing some more RBF on Sage soon. Hopefully get the pin neck. Yo, if anybody got a pin neck out there, pin tongue red necklace, you want to sell it to me? I got a pre-order. But yeah, just kind of waiting to see what they do to Sage on Wednesday. What kind of tweaks and stuff. That's about it.
What's up with you, Marlon?
Distortion gambling, more Hadoom grinds, Darkest Dungeon, T1 as many days as possible. Every Friday is like big T1. It's like, T1 Siege, quote unquote. So
apparently Guilty fell apart.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, could you imagine? You see the names in that guild? I wonder what happened.
They're very guilty.
Well, either way, T1s are fun. It's got me enjoying PvP in the game a lot again. Thinking of trying different classes. So I've got a lot to work on and progress and like actually care about right now, which is new. So I'm enjoying that.
Potion shop, your turn, friends.
Oh, my turn? All right. We're doing 62 Sage. Then we're going to be leveling up Ninja or Archer 62. That's what we're going to be doing this weekend on Saturday, Sunday. Then we're probably going to be slowly leveling up, or maybe fastly leveling up, the Sage class 63. It takes about 25 hours to get 63 right now, grinding Mirmok solo. As long as you have the 530 and 600% scrolls, it's about 25 hours, so it's very, very fast.
Insane, dude.
Yeah. So I'm going to be getting a little XP this week, and then during the weekend we'll knock out probably a 20-hour grind on Sage, game 63.
Are you planning on unbanning Junior on your stream this week?
No.
Don't do it.
Every time I get asked, it extends by a month.
Attaboy. Proud of you, Potion.
I love it. For me, I'm actually going to get to a regular stream schedule here in the near future, probably within the next week or so. I am about 50% unpacked, so I'm going to need probably another week or so to finalize that. I'm sorting through a bunch of shit, but I have this big old bottle of scotch that I just picked up.
Ooh.
And yeah, it was on sale. I'm super excited about it. So I'm going to stream and drink this weekend and then get back to
Drunk Apex?
No, that doesn't work out.
I mean, it's not about that. Is it fun? Is
No.
Drunk Apex fun?
Mm-mm.
Oh, okay.
Drunk Tarkov wasn't bad. I killed Game Nadian. It's pretty funny. Anyway, so probably do a little bit of drinking during Among Us tomorrow. That's going to happen with Moreland's community and stuff. Yeah. But we'll have fun. On behalf of Kerr, Moreland TV, Potion Shop, I'm Tim Allen 1337. This was Nerds and Words, episode 37. Thank you guys. I hope you learned something, got frustrated, and had a good time along with us. We are live with this every 3 p.m. Eastern on Friday, and that's 12 p.m. Pacific. Make sure you catch us live or on Spotify or on Potion Shop's YouTube. Have an excellent week, and we'll see you next week. Cheers.